This guy is live. I think there was something I wanted to do about the screen orientation though I don't think I can just, orientation is locked, so I have to do this. Okay. Which also means I'm gonna have to unplug you to do that. All right, not the way that I wanted that stream to go, but I think I have more people getting ready to show up on the Facebook Live. So I'm a little early for the live stream here. But that is a good thing. Like the plan is probably I will, this will be the archived live stream of the live stream, derp. As Facebook Live, I do not believe it archives anymore. So this will be the way to have that. All right, I have my laptop over here. You're gonna see me looking over here a bit. I've got my laptop over here so I can read the chats and all of that stuff, because it's hard to read the chat on my phone. So I'm gonna try to keep an eye on that here. Live chat, all messages are visible. That's what I want. All right, so that guy's good. I'm gonna go ahead and put the website in here. All right, I think I'm doing that properly. I may not be. I'm not seeing the chat over there. Anyway, so there's that, and it is now 11 o'clock. Starting the live video on Facebook. Tap to add a description. This should be go live to start the event. All right. I believe that's very exciting. All right. I think I did that properly. I'm double checking. Facebook Live, YouTube Live's over here. I have a laptop over here with some windows so that I can see stuff. Let me refresh this page. Oops, wrong page. Refreshing this page. Got two windows open. All right, I think I can do that. I'm trying to monitor the stuff as we go. Okay. I think I did that appropriately. We got a couple people wandering in. It's just me and the cats here. Till I dressed up for the event. It's been a bit of a busy day. I didn't expect it to be quite as busy as it is or was. I'm gonna do my best to look at both cameras. Oh, we do have a few people on YouTube. That's great. Good to see you guys. Nice. Thank you for the subscription. I really appreciate that. Really appreciate that. Jamie on Facebook. What's going on? Good to see you. So welcome to the live stream. I guess what I wanted to do was just make sure that I was like good and wound up, you know, potentially to have a good panic attack before midnight and the new single goes live. That was the plan. Also just give a cool way to celebrate with everybody, since it's not the full album, it's just the first single. So, you know, booking like a CD release party at a club or venue didn't seem appropriate. And the last time I did a release, I don't know that social media was in 2015 what it is now, so I've got a lot of catch up to do. Hello, Susan, good to see you. So yeah, so this is the release party. What is up, Lord Nelson on the YouTubes? I got my brother Danny on the Facebooks. Be good to see some people trickling in. It's just a hang. So here's for the new people here. Good to see you as well. The plan here is this. So the plan is that at midnight, the song automatically goes live on my website. So like I shouldn't technically have to do a thing. It should just at midnight, bang. If I did things correctly, it should do that, which is fun. I apologize to the YouTube stream if I'm looking over here too much because I got 2 streams going. So that should be good. Also on YouTube as well, if you need to hear the song or just want to hear the song before you decide to download it, I have made the song available. It's going to be on my YouTube channel. So you'll be able to listen to it on my YouTube channel. It goes live at midnight automatically. So I shouldn't have to do a thing if I did all that stuff correctly. Chris, what's going on? Jared, good to see you. I'm doing okay. Okay, I'm excited about new music finally getting out. It's been a long time. I'm excited to talk about this song. I haven't even talked in any of the other live streams I've done on TikTok or here. I don't think I've really talked about this song, so I'm excited. I'm excited for people to finally hear it so that I have something to talk about that is relevant to the sounds of the stuff that you hear. But anyway, the YouTube link is a good way for people to be able to share the song around as well, because I'm not putting it on Spotify immediately or Apple Music. I didn't want that to be a part of this piece, which will probably be the bulk of the conversation before midnight. I'm gonna talk about some things. You know, I played bass on this one, but Josh has agreed to play bass on at least one of the other songs on the record, and I think it's appropriate. I think he'll be really pleased to play on it because I think it's going to be a fun one for him to play, and I'll be pleased as punch to hear him on it. So yes, so that's available there. No Spotify, no Apple Music, and the reason, like, it's going to be there. It has to be there, right? Like, this is instrumental guitar music, so it's already niche. I'm not going to be competing with Billie Eilish or Sleep Token or anybody. Like, this is just my rock instrumental stuff. So, but it will do me good to be on a format like Spotify and Apple Music where I can get added to a playlist that might include Vive, Satriani, Yngwie, Petrucci, all the guys. Right. Yeah, apparently Billie Eilish is a thing. Well, thank you. I don't know if I'm a cool guy. I think I'm the nerd in the family. And if that's cool, I'll take it. Brian's in the house. Thank you, man. I greatly appreciate you being here. I am prepared with a celebratory glass of scotch for midnight when this song is finally birthed into reality. Oh, thank you. I love this Splawn. And since you mentioned it, I will say Scott Splawn is a friend of mine. I've known him for several years now and been playing his amps for a long time. They're really fantastic. All the guitars on the new song Learning to Sleep were recorded with the Splawn, which is really great because when you're layering guitars and stuff, usually you want to switch things up and maybe use a different amp or a different cabinet or different guitars and stuff like that. And that head is really great. It's sort of in the family of all things hot-rodded British. It's really lovely, and it seems like all the amps that I buy, I'm really into those. What's up, Chris? Good to see you. Surprised to see you so late on a Thursday evening. But anyway, there's a lot of really good versatility in that amp, and I think I got a lot of good separation of tones, even though the Splon was the only head that I used for it. I think if I did anything else for reamping, rather than just reamp through another amp, I have a lot of plugins. So I ended up doing the thing, which so many guitar plugins, and I have the Line 6 Helix stuff native on my computer. And that's really great for reamping stuff. And I use a Helix for a lot of my stuff live when I can't have a live amp on stage. It's really great. But when I found out Joe Satriani used the Sans Amp plugin for the Elephants of Mars for anything reamping he did, like, it's my first go-to, and I almost always find exactly what I need to reamp a DI, which is really great. Oh, 5 a.m. there. Well, bless you for being up so early. Chris can't stay long. Yeah, I figured you got church in the morning. KT88's decent tube for the money, upgrading. So yeah, man, that is a really nice amp. Oh, Monkey, he's on the YouTube feed. James back here. Love hearing you play all the way back from the high school years. Yeah, thank you. You know, I keep threatening, and I've been threatening for a long time because I've not played a gig in New Hampshire since like 1992. With all the touring that I've done, I've not had a stop back in New Hampshire. I played Vermont, Boston, I've played Portland, Maine. Like, I've been all up and around. And ever since I put out 2 of 5, I've been saying I want to come home and do a home concert. It's going to happen. It has to happen because, you know, what are we, 30 now? 35? So probably want to get on with it, you know? Yeah, Joe is awesome. Let's see. I don't know why I'm not seeing the chat on my YouTube channel on this page. Like, that almost seems like a waste. I'm reading it more on my phone, so I apologize for leaning in, looking probably a little squinty-eyed. I'm at this weird place in life where glasses are generally pretty good, but I don't need them to read, so I'm constantly doing this thing. So my apologies for extra looking like a 35-year-old at this point. Thank you, brother. I miss you too, man. And while you're here, I'll just go ahead and put you on the hook for it, since like tonight is sort of like, it's 11:11, y'all. Drew, what's going on? I miss you too, my brother. We need to talk very soon. I owe you a phone call. This tune is sort of a revelation. It's taken me, like, it's been 10 years since I released something of my own, and that's comes with a lot of stuff. If you followed any of my other stuff, I've been on a whole journey with mental health and depression and all of that stuff and anxiety. So like, it's taken a lot of work to get this done. And I really meant this to be like a year ago, and there's been tragedy in family and life around here. Oh, did you see one of the cats running by? I left the door open. Like, I think one of my most watched videos on Instagram was me promoting a gig, and my cat Peaches was in this chair, and I was standing up talking, and I realized while I was talking that he was in frame, so like, he became a part of the promo for the gig, which was kind of fun. Yeah, thanks, Chris. If you do like what you hear, like, please consider buying it. Chappie, what's going on, brother? Let's see. I think I missed. So I'm excited for the new song too. What I was going to say, Scatterbrain, to Lord Nelson. You know, I've been wanting to do a tune with you. I've had a very specific tune in mind, and this coming back out now tonight, midnight. The store is open, break time is over. I've been saying it for years while I've been trying to get here, but this is the floodgate of, it is now officially back to work season. Like, there's nothing really left to do except make art, release art, and try to make a living, try to keep doing it. what else am I doing, right? So I'm going to be contacting you, Lord Nelson, about this particular track, so we can collaborate on that sooner than later. Probably think about maybe start writing it this fall, winter. I got my hands full for most of this year, but we're going to get there. We're going to get there. What's up, Rob? Good to see you as well. Let's see. Joe said, well, I'm glad you got here. I just got here, but I'm interested. Fusion included. Oh, excellent, excellent. Okay, so Chris suggested that if you like the song, when you hear it, please consider buying it. Yes. It's one of the reasons it's not going up on Spotify immediately is I know people mean very well, and as soon as it's available on Spotify and Apple Music, people subscribe, so they'll just go listen to it, and that's great, really wonderful. That's good for aggregate numbers and things like that too. But as you know, hilariously, like Spotify does not pay below a certain threshold, and I certainly way below the threshold on that stuff. You can find me on both platforms. Please follow me there. That may help the algorithm there, but still, like you have to get like millions of streams to make thousands of dollars. You know, it's a pain in the butt. Yeah, exactly. Can't hear you on my phone. I'll try another way. Okay, I'll be here. I will be here. I guess I can open this window a little bit more. Like this guy can go away because that's just not doing. So pardon my reaching over here. I'll concentrate on being able to read that there, and then I'll read you here, and that'll be great. What do we say? You saying I'm there? I got you, bro. Ready? We're all going to buy it tonight, man. Thank you, guys. So here's an offer. I've been trying to put some things together for a little while in terms of how to restructure an independent artist business with, I own Serpa Records, so that's the record label that I'm releasing all this stuff on. 205 was released after I had initially put it out. If you guys don't know, Steve Vai distributed it for me digitally for a number of years, which was really, really wonderful. And then he ended up folding that subsidiary of Favored Nations just a few years ago. So those rights reverted back to me. So I'm back in control of all that stuff. But I'm trying to look at all of the tools that are available with social media and crowdfunding and things like that to help pay for projects as well as pay bills and get groceries and stuff like that, especially food for Peaches and Lefty, who are hanging around here being adorable. And, that comes with a price to have these adorable guys. During COVID, I was only performing. I had taken a job for a couple of years when I stopped working on the Drive record. I did some electrical work with a friend of mine at the Claremont Hotel, very famous bar institution in Atlanta. If you haven't been, but if you've been to Atlanta and you haven't been, like somebody didn't do you a solid, because I think that's pretty much tradition. Somebody has to take you to the Claremont. Anyway, that's another story. But I did a bunch of that work. When they rehabbed the hotel, doing the AV install with some friends. I also took a job at a warehouse and a screen printing company for a couple of years while I was getting my stuff together. And at the same time, like I was going to stop playing altogether. But right at that time, I also got an opportunity to audition and do some substitute gigs with Jesse's Girls, who I still play with now. It's a really great band, and it's been the thing that's really kept me playing other than lessons. I've just been trying to decompress my head and focus on all that stuff, which those are deep topics for another time. But during COVID, I was only playing with Jesse's Girls and teaching lessons. So when the world shut down, like all of my gigs went away. And since the world has opened back up, my gigs still have not really come back fully the way that I need them to. It's been a struggle. Not just is it a struggle because I have less work post-COVID, But during COVID, because I didn't have any income, I lived off of my credit card. So now I have a ridiculous amount of credit card debt. So this is a thing that's been slowing down a lot of work besides just the mental decompression of stuff. And during COVID, I saw a lot of artists, musicians, teachers do a lot of crowdfunding, GoFundMe, stuff like that. And people were very generous and helping people pay their bills during that global crisis. And I decided not to do that at the time because it seemed like there's just so many people who were so desperate for work and money as an artist that, like, let the charity go where the charity really needs to go. I felt like I was okay and I could handle it. Well, spoiler alert, I didn't handle it very well by living off of my credit cards entirely. So I'm dealing with all of that stuff and still just trying to get my calendar filled back up post-COVID as well, which is another reason for me to come back out of retirement, is that I've been playing in corporate bands where we do a lot of corporate events, charity events, high-end weddings and stuff like that, destination weddings. It's a lot of fun. Coming up here, Lefty wants to say hi. Lefty likes it when I talk about Jesse's Girls and destination weddings. She likes to hear all about them when I come home. Anywho, but the other work that I used to do a lot around Atlanta, which was a lot of blues and jam band, Southern rock kind of gigs. Like most of those clubs that I had been working for decades, a lot of them were already closing before COVID. The live music scene has really changed in Atlanta, and I think it's not just Atlanta. I think some of the, just so much is online that most people just don't go out the same way. They'll go out and spend their money with, you know, their favorite bands when they come to town, but people don't just casually go to see local bands as much anymore. Oh, thanks, Sam. Appreciate that. Yeah, Lefty she's awesome, and she keeps me online. Oh, you know what else I was going to do? I was going to play some music in the background while we're talking. That was kind of my plan. Like, I put together a little playlist of just my other releases. So anyway, you can hear a little bit of this stuff playing in the background. So yeah, I don't have as much like just pickup gigs that I used to get as just like a sideman. So I'm kind of back to looking at like, well, what can I do to play more gigs? So probably going to involve some solo guitar gigs. I've been working on putting together a solo acoustic program that I think will be a good thing. Kevin, good to see you as well, brother. I'm so glad you could make it. It's so late. You guys are awesome. It's like, I know it was like a midnight thing to release the tune. The tune. I didn't even think about it. When I said it for midnight, I was like, oh yeah, that's great. It's just like, that's the full, you know, that's August 1st. And I was like, oh, well, dang, it's Thursday night, really, to do a thing. So thank you guys for hanging out. So much appreciate that. But as I was saying, putting together like an acoustic solo program of music, instrumental, and will probably be singing because people do seem to like singing. And I think if I sang more, I think my career would improve for the most part. So be forewarned. My mom's a very professional, great singer. So apparently I can sing. So I miss you too, Sam. So anyway, be looking forward to a bit of that stuff. Let me turn that down a little bit, actually. Let's do this. There we go. So yeah, that, and it's time to get back on the horse altogether. So I've only done a couple of rock, like full-on band gigs. One was before COVID, like right before everything shut down. I opened for Tony McAlpine here in Atlanta, which was great because I hadn't seen him in several years since we toured together in Europe. Hey, I guess that's enough of that. Um, and then I did another gig opening up for Backward Blue, um, and I had a bus call that night. Like, they wanted me to sit in because I guested on one of their songs, and I couldn't stay because we had a bus call, so that was unfortunate. Um, yes, yes. JC says just give it to Jesus and it'll help you through everything. I am a believer, so I do absolutely believe in that. Singing is tough, but you should keep at it. No good if you don't practice. Yeah, of course. Like, and I've sang most of my life. My mom was an opera singer, and she was the choir master at every church that we went to. So I was always conscripted to sing in choir, and I sang in choir all the way through college. Sang with a professional choir, um, which was honestly that experience, maybe one of the most incredible musical experiences of my life. The few years that I was in the College of Charleston, I was singing at the Grace Episcopal Professional Choir, which was something. Like, everybody in the choir was either a professional singer or they were members of the Charleston Symphony. And just since then, like, I always sing background in bands, but singing lead vocal, I don't know, I'm scared. Like, rather hide behind a guitar. And one thing I do have trouble with is playing guitar and singing at the same time. Like, that's a thing. Partly because I don't write songs that are as catchy as the Foo Fighters. Like when I see Dave Grohl doing the thing, I'm like, I could do that. But then I don't write songs that are like that. So that's the thing. Funny enough that I say that, though. This song, Learning to Sleep, is kind of in that Foo Fighter line of hard rock kind of stuff. So if you like that style of rock, just with all lead guitar, that's kind of what this song is going to be like, in part. Like, obviously there's going to be a lot of weird stuff as well. Not really that weird, but you'll hear the different influences throughout the tune. And I'm meandering again. But gigging is a thing that I'm trying to get back on track. Definitely trying to beef up my student roster. I've been teaching online for a number of years, and still keep the virtual lesson things going. So you can find all that stuff on my website as well. If you know people looking for tutelage, opinions, how to make whale noises, stuff like that, or just how to read music, how to improvise, how to write, how to transcribe, theory, all that stuff. Hey Terry, good to see you, man. And Rob says, kids these days are hung up on lyrics. Yeah, it's crazy. And then over here, Conscripted to Choir is a good title. Yeah, kinda. And like after a while, because there was a thing in the Catholic Church with contemporary Christian folk music. So when that was taking off, as a matter of fact, like my first real job, my mom bought me a 12-string acoustic guitar, and hired me to play in her contemporary Christian folk ensemble. And we sang and played all over New England, which was really great. When I was 14, it was a really good professional experience. To, like, you get a little bit of traveling, you got to learn music and keep a repertoire. You make coin, which is really kind of nice. Got my reading chops up quickly, because I'd been self-learning for the most part, because I could read music and all of that stuff beforehand. But for guitar, like, I just started learning stuff off of records and off the radio by ear, or I could pick up a book and figure stuff out. But there's nothing like sitting in a group with a bunch of adult professionals and like they hand you a tome of music to learn. And even though it was folk music, it's like a lot of things I hadn't thought of yet, like slash chords, chord inversions, working with a capo. I had no need of a capo before any of that stuff. So figuring out how all that stuff worked, like, and be able to keep up, like sight reading a chord chart in that manner was a new experience. And like it whipped me into shape really quickly because I was responsible for an awful lot of music, um, which was great. Um, so anywho, say all of these things. The website that I currently have is a new website since I stopped working. When I stopped working 10 years ago on my stuff, due to some circumstance, I lost my old website domain name and the web hosting, so it just went away. And like now I tried to get the domain back, and for some reason like the company that wants to license it to me wants me to pay like, I don't know, $1,500 for it. Like, shoot, I don't make $1,500 a year on streaming, so yeah, thank you. That's the song 2 of 5 that Lord Nelson is pointing to in the background. So yeah, the website that I have now is finally, it's a .com, Mike2of5Martin.com. There's a lot of Mike Martins out there. That's been a thing, and I still haven't put that on Spotify and Apple Music because there are so many other artists who just use their name, and Mike Martin is a fairly common name, that getting my music separated from them is a challenge. I have not figured out how to do that completely yet. So like if you go to my page on Apple Music, I was just looking earlier today, there's a few other artists that do show up under my page, even though I've specifically only listed the music that I've actually released to be on my artist page. For some reason, it still just comes up that way. What are you gonna do about it? So for all social media and everything, I've stuck the 2 of 5 moniker in the middle of that, which is the name of this record and this song, which was my first record. So it's kind of a nickname because I'm the second of 5 children. So 2 of 5 is my Borg designation. I thought about that too, but then people will start taking out credit cards in my name and getting like home equity loans. Not that my credit is any good, but you know, they can try. You know, I'm certainly not brave enough to do that. AAA, Mike Martin. Love you, bro. My old ass kids. All right, okay. Well, thank you, Katie. I love you. Have a great night, and kiss RJ for me, and Big J. Big R. My bad. And yeah, let me know what you think tomorrow. Send me a text or a video message of you and the family rocking out. Thank you, Tracy. Congratulations, she said. Yeah, sorry it's midnight. Sorry it's old. I'll probably have to do a follow-up stream, like once the song is out. Like maybe I'll do that tomorrow. And I keep going off on tangents. So this tangent is all about the website. So I'm a huge Frank Zappa fan, and by proxy also a big Dweezil Zappa fan. He's an incredible guitar player. I've seen him play several times. Frank passed in 1993, so I never got to see Frank live. But I've seen Dweezil play Frank's music many, many times. I'll catch him every time I can, because it's just some of my favorite music on the planet. Well, he has a new business, so for any independent artists here, if you're got web hosting, he partnered with some people and they've created this thing called Reward Music. And the website is just rewardmusic.com, but it's web hosting for artists. So you can park all of your stuff there, which is really wonderful. And there's a lot of stuff baked into the actual hosting side of the service, where eventually I will be able to do live streams directly on my website. So if I do a web concert, I can stream that directly on my website. No offense to YouTube. I love YouTube. Obviously I'm live streaming here, Facebook Live as well. But if I wanted to do that kind of thing behind a paywall, there were a lot of companies that I became aware of during COVID where people were doing live streams behind a ticketed paywall. And you had to do that on their server. So this Reward Music service allows for that with my web hosting. So I have the option of doing that eventually at some point. Also, they have some fulfillment services for when I get into like physical merch and stuff, which is another thing I'll mention here in a second. But there's also plenty of things baked into it where there's a blog, there's all of my audio I can stream directly on my website. So everything you're hearing now is on my website. You can stream it right now. You don't have to go to Spotify. I don't make money when you just stream things on my website, but I'm getting to that part. But there's just a lot of things that I like the philosophy of what Dweezil and the web developers are going for with this, which the idea is most of our websites as artists, what we end up doing is pointing everybody like, hey, come to mike205martin.com. And then as soon as you get there, I'm hitting you with like, go to these other places, go to Instagram, go to Facebook, go to YouTube, go to Twitter, go to wherever. And like, your storefront is your website. And the social media is a part of the game, obviously, because most people are on social media platforms. They're not just surfing the internet. They'll only go to websites that they specifically are finding out about through social media. So that's the thing that we've got to contend with. But his thinking was like, you're spending an awful lot of your effort to push people away from your storefront. And if you can have a lot of those things baked into your website, maybe they'll stay a little bit longer. If they stay a little bit longer, they may buy a t-shirt. They might check out your performance schedule. They might consider buying a lesson. They may stream your music or buy a record or a download or something like that there. So that's kind of the idea. Froge, what's going on, brother? Good to see you. So good to see you. We're way overdue for shenanigans. So much shenanigans. Like, so much shenanigans. So yeah, so I'm really into what Dweezil's trying to do here. So he's trying to help, you know, keep a bit of your retention of your artistic things. You're creating all of this content that when we create it for Instagram or YouTube or whatever, like, it's largely free. Monetizing this stuff is something I haven't quite figured out because I haven't really done enough with it. And I know people are making money on TikTok and all that stuff. Man, I miss you, brother. It's been too long. Good Lord. Yeah, like, we need to catch up sooner than later. Like, should probably get on the phone tomorrow. So I love that idea. So I've parked my website there, which is great. And one of the other things that the Reward Music server offers the artist is you can do crowdfunding directly on the website too. So if I wanted to do sort of a GoFundMe style crowdfunding to finish this record, and this record is called The Light at the End of the World. It's a whole pastiche of songs that are all kind of interconnected that have been written, obviously, during a weird time in history where the world shut down. So that's really great that I can do that inside the shell of my own website. I don't have to use a third party like GoFundMe or another website that might take a fee for handling the banking on that stuff. And I can control, you know, what I offer in services for whatever donations for a crowdfunded thing. Lisa Carey, good to see you. So one of the things that the site also offers is a subscription. So I've set a subscription up, and we're going to try this first. So when you go to my website, you go to the music side of it, you can buy any of my releases. There are some things on the website that are not released through my website, like the dreaded Marco Safe Word record. You can stream it on my site with a subscription, but if you want to buy it, you have to go to our, I think it's our TuneCore page. But it's available on iTunes and all of those places. We may still have some CDs laying around too, so if you want to do, you know, the old horse and buggy, get the hamster wheel out and crank it up, you can do that as well. But any of my music you can buy through my website, and it's all set up for the set fee of, like, you can get a song for $1 or the whole 2 of 5 record, I think, for $8 or $9. $9. I think there's 9 tracks on it. Or you can name your price. So if you're like, wow, I can't believe I'm getting all of this music for $1, I would like to give you $2. It gives you the ability to put in $2. So it's like a built-in kind of tip bucket right there at the download page, which I really like. You could pay $50 for a song if you wanted to. Like, I couldn't stop you. You could pay $20. You could pay $100 for a single. There's a brand new one that's gonna be out. Fro says 800 CDs and not a working CD player. Schwanky, what's going on, brother? Good to see you as well. Thank you for stopping in, man. So yeah, so you can do that. What the subscription thing I've done is like there's a hybrids demo, which is me and John Schwanke. We had a band back in the year 2000. We had a band called the Hybrids with Oli Gully and John McKnight, and we missed them both terribly. But it was a fun band, and we recorded a demo that we really did it for booking, but we ended up selling some CD, like, I don't even know, a bunch of CDRs, because we played a pretty good bit. But that's been available to stream on my website. So you can go listen to this blues fusion band called the Hybrids that me and John Schwanke had many years ago. And if you want to download it, you can stream it for free. But if you want to download it, you have to subscribe. I forget, did you have to subscribe to listen to it? Maybe not. I forget what the setting is. But now, if you want to download it, definitely subscribe. And you can do that. But you can get all of that, all of 2 of 5, all of the singles, Wherever You Are, which was the last single I released 10 years ago now. My Christmas single, which is like my #1 holiday jam that everybody should just be decking the halls with. O Come, O Come Emmanuel. Like, I'm so proud of that tune. It looks like it gets a lot of play every Christmas, so it's a lot of fun. So you can download all of that for the low subscription fee of $10 for a year. That's a lot of music for $10. Or you could pay your own price for all that stuff. There's even a virtual tip bucket if you just wanted to leave money and be like, this poor unfortunate guy, he cut the beard, but now he needs a haircut and maybe needs to dye his roots. Oh man, the Hybrids days were some of the best times, and it's out of the Hybrids that really the New Yankee All-Stars was born, because Lola was working a lot at the time. So we would get Hybrids gigs, and Lola would be busy with her solo career. So we managed to hold on to a lot of gigs just doing it as a trio, the New Yankee All-Stars. And McKnight did a lot more singing, and we did a lot more tomfoolery and improvising with that band. And there's more stuff coming with that too. Like, all that's going to be on the website. So yeah, that's all stuff. Drew Stamos says, we need to talk. I have a couple of ideas. Yes, I need to bug you about some things we've talked about previously with photography, and plus myriads of all the other wonderful things that we just need to catch up about, because it's been a minute. So yeah, so my encouragement is, I really want everybody to hear this new song, and hopefully you'll like it. I know it's a big ask with instrumental music, like, especially rock music. Like, we're so used to lyrics and stuff like that, but hopefully, if reviews of 2 of 5 and other stuff I've released is any indication, I got a reputation for playing absurd, crazy stuff, both with the Hybrids and the New Yankee All-Stars when I was a blues guy here in Atlanta. But then also when I started touring with Fozzy and Stuck Mojo, that was like full contact guitar playing, where like I just took it as I just, I got the gun seat, this is the hired gun, like Randy Rhoads or Jakey Lee or Zach Wild, is like, you need to show up and shred. So for the metal years that I was doing all that stuff, there's an egregious amount of just technical, fiery playing. And then when 205 came out, not saying there isn't a lot of guitar playing, like it's all guitar playing, but not really like a shred record. It's not like an Yngwie record, and even some of my favorite guitar players. It's not like a Tony McAlpine record or a Marty Friedman record, and I love all of that stuff. I'm so influenced by all of those guys, but I ended up like, it's a really interesting thing, the discovery of like the artist, because like you're attracted to things and you want to do those things, and then you realize writing is like playing other people's music is about, it's like looking out a window and describing everything you see, and writing music is more like looking in a mirror, and that's a real mind bender to do that, because I know I'm so hypercritical of myself and what I look like, and you know, the envy of what I don't look like. You know, I look in the mirror and like, I don't want to have this white beard. I want to still have a black beard. You know, I still want all black hair. I wish I had a better tan. Wish I didn't look goofy with glasses. I wish I didn't have these weird wings when I put my hair back in a ponytail. Like I could be so critical, like my crooked teeth and all the things I really don't like about looking at myself. And writing is kind of like that. If you're being honest about what you're writing, you're kind of looking further into like, well, what do I sound like? What do I really get at? I don't want to recreate what somebody else has already done, and it's impossible anyway. Like you can't recreate Surfing with the Alien or Avia Musicom or Perpetual Burn or Passion and Warfare. Like Blow by Blow, you can't recreate these things, and we're all so inspired by it. But the reason that Surfing with the Alien is incredible is because Joe was doing his thing. Vintage is definitely the thing. So yeah, so as I've found when I've written my solo instrumental stuff, I've tended to lean a little bit more towards like, it's more like making a vocal record where the guitar is the lead singer. And I know that's more in line with like the Joe Satriani line of instrumental rock, which I think that's a great track. If you're going to follow somebody, Joe is probably the guy to follow. He's arguably the most successful of the instrumental rock players. He can absolutely shred, but he's so vocal about what he does as well. I think that endures. You go to a Joe Satriani concert and it's not just guitar players there. It's people who love guitar music and just rock music. His tunes are catchy and they stick in your head, and I think that's a really great way to be with that stuff. And with my composition background, I do write symphonic and classical music. As a matter of fact, if you subscribe to my website, my string quintet that was my senior recital in 1999 in college, I recorded it for posterity at the time because I was in college and I was spending a lot of money, so why not? And while I'm on the train of spending a lot of money, I hired the Charleston Symphony Orchestra to play my string quintet, to premiere it, which for a college student, like they gave me a very reasonable rate, but it was a lot of money. Oh, thank you, Kev. I love Salute too, man. It's one of my favorites to play. Like I think it's on the list of almost every gig that I do. Let me catch up on the chat for a second. Chances are looking great. Nice to see the face. Handsome. Here I am talking about the things I don't like when I see in the mirror. Handsome. Stop it. Folks pay extra for that. Uh, Michaela says, cheers, can't wait to hear the new song. I can't wait for everybody to hear it. I'm so excited. Finally, a new jam. Like, I haven't had a new jam. I've been teasing stuff. Like, if you saw my 50th birthday live stream last year, I did play it. And I also played it when I opened for Backward Blue. So it's been performed a couple of times. But I've also played music off of the Drive, which I'm going to get the Light at the End of the World done now. The Drive album is, I've talked about it ad nauseum. It's 20 compositions. It's over 2 hours of music. I had this grand artistic vision for it, which is part of the reason I had to stop. I was going crazy at the time, and that work kind of represents that crazy. So I'm going to get to it. Yes, man. Man, but yes, let's get tacos very soon. I'm actually in town a good bit for the month of August, so let's do it. Drew, thank you, brother. Send me a DM and let me know what you think of the tune when you get a chance to listen to it. So yeah, that's a bunch of stuff. That is a bunch of stuff. So hopefully everybody will like it. Hopefully it's a tune that will stick in your head, and it's a nice loud rock tune. It's not trying to be weird. It's pretty direct and in your face. Good night, John. Okay, let me catch up on the hardest thing after getting people to your website is keeping them there. Yeah, that is the thing. It's great to see you heading to bed. All right, Lee, thank you so much. Let me know when you get a chance to hear it. It's going to be live in 10 minutes. It's wild. This is like my New Year's Eve. But it's like New Year's Eve 10 years in the making. Like, I could probably do a whole psychological profile of like what I've done to myself the last 10 years, just trying to be a person. Like, it's a lot. It's an awful lot. And this is a happy moment. This is a very happy moment. This has been hard fought for, and there's been some very important people in my life that I would not have gotten to hear without them, and I'm grateful. I'm very grateful, and I hope that I'll be able to demonstrate that gratitude. So let's talk about this song for a second. I've been 50 since I was 26, right? 10 more minutes, and I have my celebratory sip of scotch for when the song goes live. It's a pretty healthy pour, though the angle makes it look way healthier than it actually is. But it's in these are Star Wars highball glasses that were gifted to me by a very, very important person. I wanted to make sure they were represented in this celebration. But it's obviously got a lightsaber. There's a set of them. They all have lightsabers on. They have different sayings. And this one says, "I find your lack of faith disturbing." And the person that gave me these glasses, that's no accident for that. They were very, very instrumental in me finding my way back to faith in myself and being able to create music again. I would not be doing it without their help. So that means everything. So that's a very special glass for that. So this song, Learning to Sleep, it's a fun title. It started its life actually about 10 years ago. We had just finished the Safe Word record with Dreaded Marco, and we kind of went right into like just having more writing ideas. When I joined the Dreaded Marco, they were already into, and Froge is in the chat if you want to pick his brain about this stuff too, they were already into the writing process pretty deep for what became the Safe Word record. Dixie Duncan had stepped away from the band. Dixie's one of my best friends. So it was an honor to be able to backfill, and I'm a big fan of Dixie's playing, and like his work and Dreaded Marco is incredible. So it was really beautiful to get to honor my friend Dixie by filling in with the Dreaded Marco, and it offered me an opportunity to come right on the back end. The songs were pretty well formed together, and Mike and the guys, Charlie and Scott, sent me the record with the writing they had and the production they had up to that point. In my home studio, I started throwing ideas just so they could listen to them, knowing that we were going to record my final guitars at Open Sky, which is Mike Froge's studio here in Atlanta. So I'm sending ideas out on that, and the guys were very accommodating. Like Charlie had his guitar parts pretty well developed before I put my parts on there, but then my contribution to a secondary guitar part gave him ideas of like, oh man, so he actually went back and retooled a lot of his writing on parts. I think it affected some of the production ideas that we had, so like they were very very wonderful in inviting me into the band and giving me that much creative leeway, especially into a record that was already so far along in the process, to, you know, want to incorporate my ideas at such a big level. So like it felt like I had a lot more to do with writing the Safe Word record than I probably actually did. But they gave me free rein to write my crazy bit of stuff. Yeah, man. Absolutely. Absolutely. Mike says we've got to have two of the best drummers in our band. Oh man, like I was listening to it recently because as I was working on mixing Learning to Sleep, so of course I'm listening to everything that I've been on, and Safe Word sounds so good, and spoiler, Mike not only engineered, but he produced and mixed the record. It sounds incredible. So I was listening to it recently, and like there's so much ear candy all over the record, and like it's a pretty straight up, honest to God, two guitar players, bass player, drums. Like when we play live, like that's the record. Like even though like we did overdubs for the production, like it's a rock band, and I'm really proud of that record. Really proud of that record. So anyway, we got 5 minutes left. I gotta get on with my tangent. Tell you about this story of Learning to Sleep before you go listen to it. I don't want you to go to sleep before you hear Learning to Sleep. So anyway, I had a really great time working on finishing the Safe Word record. So creative. Like what an amazing group of guys. Like I've been so fortunate. Like every band project I've really done, it's been like a group of best friends. It's really wonderful. That becomes family that's lasted for a lifetime, whether it's the Hybrids or Jana or Fozzy, Stuck Mojo, the Duke, Agent Cooper. Like I've been so very fortunate that they've been intense familial relationships along the way as well. So once we finished the record, we did a handful of gigs, and then we sort of immediately went into just writing the next record. My Aunt Jean is in the house. Everybody on Facebook say hi to my Aunt Jean. She says, I almost didn't recognize you without that long beard you had before. I love you, but like, that's crazy. Like the last time I was in town was for my cousin Jennifer's wedding, and I still had the crazy long beard. Like I haven't been without the beard for a year yet. I cut it in September last year, and I haven't really been online and posted a bunch of pictures. So yes, it is new. So surprise, I need to come visit the family very soon. Like I thought we were gonna make it up this summer. Sarah and I were talking about making a point to see Dad, and this summer's just been crazy. Not with a lot of work, but just with a lot of consternation. Anyway, we can talk about that. Hey, everybody say hi to my Aunt Jean. Everybody on YouTube, say hi to my Aunt Jean. Like, I'm her favorite nephew. I'm not... See, she even wrote it. She even wrote it. So there you go. So yeah, so we went into writing this stuff. So Charlie had some tunes, Scott submitted some tunes, and I had some tunes kicking around. I just sent everybody just some real rough demos of some things sketched out. We got pretty excited about a couple of ideas. One of them we finished, and we've gigged out a bunch of, like, even during the Safe Words, like, I guess, support shows after the record came out. We played one of my tunes called Shake, which is a torrid, lurid song about things. But one of the songs in that collection was a song called Insomnia, just as a working title. And we didn't really talk about it. Like, everybody liked specific songs that everybody submitted, so we just kind of went after those, and we never talked about this tune really beyond that. So the tune's been kicking around, and along with a complete, apocalypse, pandemic, shutting the world down and everything else, like, there's been so many things changing around Atlanta that the studio, Mike's Open Sky Studio, where we stored our gear, we rehearsed there, we recorded there, we did sessions there, I've been working out of Mike's studio since my days in Stuck Mojo, where we would come and do tour rehearsals there. You missed that place, but that place went away because of a real estate deal. So, like, we kind of stopped working then, and then everybody had babies except me, and, like, babies are important, and you have to take care of babies. So babies are being addressed. And the live music scene it just kind of naturally was changing around here anyway, and then COVID happened. So, like, we just haven't done stuff with Marco for a minute. Like, we got together during COVID to talk about what are we going to do next. It was 11:59. Anyway, the song was called Insomnia. We didn't do anything with Dread and Marco with it. And then it's just been hanging around. So as I was looking for stuff to do, it was ripe to be finished. And, like, it's in a very different state than it was when I initially wrote it for Dread and Marco, but it still has that kind of, that brand of hard rock stuff that Dreaded Marco is known for. It's midnight. It's midnight. Happy New Year. All right, I'm going to turn that off. Y'all on YouTube, you can go to YouTube and you can listen to it. It should be live right now. It's live on my website. You can listen to a sample of it there, or you can just download it and listen to the whole thing. You can subscribe to the website and download all of my stuff. And yeah, while you're there, there's a link to a Cafe Press store. So if you like any of the album artwork from Learning to Sleep, I think there are coffee mugs, because coffee, if I'm gonna sell merch, it's like, eventually we'll get to the t-shirts. Like, every band is a t-shirt salesperson. But we're gonna start with coffee mugs. So there are lots of coffee mugs on my Cafe Press store, because I drink copious amounts of coffee. There's my brother Cheers and me on DM. Chris says, my volume is low on Facebook. I don't know how to change that. Can you hear me okay on Facebook? I'm just now seeing that text. Cheers to my brother Danny. This is a 10-year Glenmorangie Scotch. Ten years, guys. 10 years, guys. All right, everybody's saying hi to my Aunt Jean. Everybody's listening. Hopefully everybody's heard about 30 to 60 seconds. 10 years. There's some other stuff coming out too. Like, I did a guest solo on Backward Blues record that came out 2 years ago. I also guested on some friends of mine in Greece. They have a band called Crystal Tears, and I have contributed a guitar solo. Their new record is coming out in, I want to say, September, and I did a crazy guitar solo for them. It's somewhere, like, it's absolutely, like, it sounds like me, whatever weirdness this sounds like, but it's like somewhere between Marty Friedman influence and Robert Fripp influence in this, like, just basher of a metal tune. So I'm ready for that tune to come out too, so you can hear that crazy solo. It's pretty nuts. Ooh. My laptop is kind of screaming at me. Because I've got too many things going on. So let's just see in the chat. We got 11 people on YouTube. Thank you guys. Let me see if I can catch up some of the chat here. The acoustic gig in Utopia Records, Sydney for the Duke was amazing. You know, I've got the video from that somewhere. Rich set up his camera and got video of that performance. I don't know that he ever posted all of it. I know that he posted some clips that he felt turned out really well. I thought it was a great gig. Like, as we had done that gig, like at the end of doing, it's like 4 or 5 headlining Fozzy dates, and then we came back to Sydney and stayed for a few days and did that. Like, how great was that? I'm trying to remember. We may have already done the Duke tour in the UK before that. That was a crazy year. 2005, 20 years ago, crazy year. I'm just going to keep talking while you guys are listening to the new jam. Wait for you to report back. But like my first European tour, the Enemy video that we filmed for Fozzy was being in rotation on MTV and Fuse. So like, I've been watching MTV my whole life, and now I'm in a video on MTV. It's crazy. So like, that's crazy. We're in magazines all over the place, especially with the European Stuck Mojo tour that we did. We did like 3 or 4 Fozzy dates in the UK, and then we did like 5 weeks like freezing across Europe in wintertime with Stuck Mojo. At the time, it was sort of a before Southern Born Killers time. Bones was on the tour. I wasn't a member of Stuck Mojo. I stayed on really to be Rich's guitar tech, and then I guested on 2 or 3 songs during the show since I was there. And then if Rich needed anything, I would do all that stuff. It was a great way for me to get to just tour Europe extensively, do a little bit of playing, and help Rich out at the time. And like, was already in Europe, so what a great opportunity. One of my favorite tours. Like, it was brutal. If anybody from the opening bands remembers that tour, like if Giz is in the chat, or like, good Lord, man, it was a tour, but man, it was great. It was great. Sometimes when things go a little sideways, it's really great for the camaraderie of everything. But we did that. I recorded a bunch of guitar bits for Rich's solo record, The Duke, My Kung Fu Is Good, which was, I had been on some other label releases, but they were small independent label releases. This was kind of a big deal, because that was Eagle Rock Spitfire. And at the time we didn't know, but they got bought by Universal. So like, one of the heartbreaks of the career is like, we all wanted to see that record take off. Like, we loved that record. I love that record still. I can put it on right now, and it holds up. It's incredible. So proud to have, got to play a little bit of guitar on it, and do as much touring as we did get to do for it. But when Universal bought Eagle Rock Spitfire, they had the first right of refusal of who's on the catalog, and we got shelved, which is the sob story of, I don't know how many bands. It's like you break yourself to even get to the table to sign a record deal, and then you do all that work and you get shelved. What a heartbreak. But we did that. Good Lord, Fozzy played the Download Festival. So like, this summer it's the 20th anniversary of me playing the Download Festival with Megadeth, and freaking Billy Idol was there, Apocalyptica was there, Flogging Molly was there. Like, it was stacked, man. I got to meet so many people. Like, what a whirlwind of a year 2005 was. Like, I was on Raw Monday night. I think that was the year we were on Monday Night Raw. Like, crazy. 10,000 people in Charlotte Coliseum, and like 10 million people on cable. Like, crazy year. Touring Australia with Fozzy. And while we were in Australia, we filmed a DVD, and I think there was a problem with one of the cameras, which is why we never did release a DVD, but it was filmed. But the Remains Alive record, I'm not even sure. It was available for a while. I think it's still like look up Fozzy Remains Alive, and I'm lead guitar on that entire monstrosity of a live record. It is crazy. Like it was talking about me playing over the top crazy stuff. That's a pretty good example of playing metal if you're inclined to hear that kind of stuff. Um, Definitely was in it for the physicality of the sport of it, and had a good time with it. Um, it's a good sounding live record too. Rich did the mix on that, and it sounds. I can't remember if Sean Grove touched any of that mix or if Rich mixed that entirely. Um, but if it's available, if it's out there, like you should listen to that and buy it. It's great. I remember there was a promotion not long after that came out. I think that record came out in 2006, I think. But there was also a repackaging of All That Remains. And even though I was touring for the album cycle for All That Remains, but I didn't record the record. But we had current photography added to the packaging. So like, it's really crazy. That was like, I've done record store stuff, but again, it was independent label things. It's really crazy to walk into a big box store like Walmart and see a record and your picture is on it. Like, it was really wild, really wild. What an amazing time, that's led to me getting to do all of this crazy stuff. I started recording 205 that year, so in between all of these tours that we were doing, I was teaching myself Pro Tools. And so learning to engineer, and like I'd been a session guitar player, and I always paid attention when I was in the studio. But most of the stuff, like I did a lot of ADAT recording in the 90s. I never did do full on tape sessions, but I did a lot of ADAT sessions in the 90s. And then when I started doing sessions in the 2000s, I was running into a lot more studios that were running Pro Tools or Nuendo or Cakewalk. Love the new song. Thank you. That is the first critique. Thank you. I hope everybody, I'm going to drink to that. Sitting down on the job. And I really didn't have any length of time for this live stream. Monkey says, it was solid. Loved it. Thank you. More information on learning to sleep. I had it pretty well demoed out so that I could perform it at the couple of places that I did gig it. I knew I was going to record it last year. John McKnight and I had talked about getting him in on drums. John played all the drums on 205, and we did a lot of gigging, not just with, he and I would end up, really, John McKnight and John Schwanke and myself, we ended up getting hired as a band for a lot of band leaders, which was great. So we got to gig a lot, playing a lot of different music with a lot of different artists, plus the New Yankee All-Star stuff that we had, plus the hybrid stuff that we had. And then when I released 205, pulled everybody in with as much stuff as I could do with that. So Kerry Denton is another dear friend of mine. He played on Wherever You Are. I think it's all drum programming on O Come, O Come Emmanuel. I think I used all drum programming on that. Yeah, so John and I talked about that last year, and unfortunately John is no longer with us, and that's been a heartbreak. It took a year to come back around to start work on it, and I will tell you, Sean O'Rourke is playing drums on this track. If you don't know Sean played with the Aquarium Rescue Unit with Jimmy Herring and Otel Burbridge. He's played with Mother's Finest, played with Sugarland, so many people. Like, he's an incredible world-class drummer and also happens to be a dear friend of mine. I've known him for God, years and years and years and years, and we don't get to play together enough. And I'm so blessed. So many drummers that I know and work with, Monkey, Froge, are some of the most incredible drummers ever. Like I've been really blessed that every band I've been in has been just stacked with incredible drummers. Like if ever I need a drummer for a gig, like my Rolodex of drummers is stacked with like people that I love dearly as family and I would take bullets for and help them move or whatever. But they're also like no slouches. Like I'm getting the best fucking drummers ever. And like that's the whole thing. And one of the unfortunate parts of having so many incredible drummers in your life is that you don't always get to play with all of them in every configuration. So last year, Lefty Williams, another very dear friend of mine, I played in the Lefty Williams band for a number of years. He had taken some time off from playing, and he was coming back out. And so we were hosting some jams again. And one of the last jams that I did, thank you, Aunt Jean. Thank you. I love you so much. Let's talk soon. And I promise I'm going to get up and visit you guys very soon. Ashley says, great tune. Love you. Thank you, sis. Brother says the song rocks. Let's see. Sensational, Mike, especially the intro piece. Bravo and Condress. Thank you, Eric. Appreciate that, man. Oh, man, you're totally on the level, bro. So anyway, one of the last jams that we did before that jam went away, as unfortunately they do seem to do, and I don't remember if it was it the venue wanted to cancel the jam or Lefty decided that he wanted to get busy with some other bands. He's got some projects. He's been getting very busy again, which is great. I've done a handful of gigs with him since he's been back at it, and I love Lefty. And one of the last ones, he hired Sean O'Rourke. And one of the things that we would do with the house band stuff is every time Lefty he was switching up the house band every week. And so every band, it was an opportunity for like, well, what tunes do we want to play? So we were always learning different tunes, and because it was always a different band whenever he would hire me, which is great. And on this one, Lefty was like, let's play Living the Good Life. Let's play one of your tunes, Mike. We did one of mine. We did Room with a View Reprise, which is one of Lefty's tunes. I'm trying to remember what else we played. But anyway, it was the first time that I'd played with Sean where we played one of my tunes, which is great, you know, because I love Sean's playing. But it's always interesting, like, to hear a musician that you admire so much interpreting your music, which is really great. And Living the Good Life kind of has that Jeff Porcaro shuffle thing going on, and McKnight played it on the record and he kills it. Like that tune is always a joy to play, because that groove is just one of my favorites, and John played it so well, and Kerry Denton always plays it great. Rick Shoemaker always plays it great. Brian Stevens always plays it great. Like, I've been so lucky. Like, guys, I'm really blessed with great drummers in my life. And Sean, you know, not only he played great, but he put his spin on it. And it was the first time we'd really had a chance to hang out, because like for a number of years he was not living in Atlanta, so this is really post-COVID. You know, we haven't seen each other in years, chance to catch up beyond social media. So of course we're talking about, you know, McKnight and him no longer being with us, and catching up about all these things. And he lets me know, like, because Sean and I were working on another project with our friend David Mannion, which is another long story, which you guys will be hearing a lot about very soon, because David has been going through his own health crisis for the last several years, which is also part and parcel to this madness that I've been living through, because I moved in with David in the apex of my mental breakdown, and he was a safe place to land. And I'm so eternally grateful to him. And then he's been going through a health crisis, and I've gotten to be very close with his family through all of this, and it's been a lot. But that's a lot of detail and a lot of story for another time. So while we were talking, Sean was letting me know, hey, we still get his home recording set up. Sean was recording drums, or had recorded all the drums for David's record, the Level 5 project. I was doing all the guitars. Adam Nitti was slated to play bass on the record. Billy Sheehan was slated to play bass on 2 songs. Jerry Goodman from the Mahavishnu Orchestra and the Dixie Dregs was playing violin on 2 songs. I believe it was 2 songs. It's going to be a great record. We were really excited about it. And right before COVID, I was supposed to start working on that with David before the world shut. But David had his health crisis right before the world shut for COVID. Like, very crazy bit of circumstance. If he hadn't had his health crisis, he and I just would have been living together, finishing his record. And we are going to finish his record. But that again, long story. So this is back last August. So I guess it's been about a year ago that Sean and I were talking about, and I let him know. He was like, because I told him John was going to be recording all this new stuff. I've kind of had my heart broken, and I've been struggling to get back to work on my own music anyway, and that was a devastating blow to lose, such a monolith and brother, like, in my life. Didn't know that I could do it without him, because I haven't had the confidence to get back into my music. There's been very few people that have been close to that, I've been able to lean on for their confidence. And John was definitely one of the very few. Kevin says, amazing song, My Truck Radio Gonna Catch Hell. Thank you, Kev. I've been so looking forward to you hearing it. It's like, I had a feeling like it would be up your alley for sure. Michaela says, it's incredible. Thank you. Let's see, YouTube. I enjoyed the few Monday nights you got to go to. Thanks, Monkey. My dude, winner, chicken dinner, level, nice, bro. Thank you, Lord Nelson. Sean, wow. Yeah, Sean is incredible. Thank you, Lloyd. I appreciate that, man. Like, I really threw stuff at this. I threw everything at this. Like, this is sort of the, if I don't, Kevin Geyer, what's up? My brother, another brother. Kevin, I know you're happy to finally hear some new music from me, man. Kevin has been a ride or die for me for, God, so many years. Like, when did I first come down to GemFest? Was that 2003? I think it was 2003. Man, that's like, it seems like a minute ago, but it's been several minutes ago. I love you, brother. So good to see you. I hope you dig the new tune. I hope you're gonna like the tunes that are coming. This is a pretty strong one. I'm feeling pretty good, because most of the music that I have, I feel really strongly about. Like, I'm very interested in the ideas that I've got for them. Thank you, brother. Thank you. It's hard to say that I like what I'm doing, but I'm very interested in it, and all of these new songs. And there's some brand new compositions. Obviously, like I was saying earlier, Learning to Sleep started its life as an almost dreaded Marco song 10 years ago on what would have been our follow-up to Safe Word, but because circumstances and me sitting around just trying to get just back on the field, back on the mound, swinging the bat, it was a good candidate that I could get to come and finish. Yeah, I played with Eric Sands. I was just thinking about that. Like, I didn't bring my band. It was me and Eric and Rick Shoemaker, who plays in my band, and Steve Mays, who also plays in my band. So it was kind of like my band backing up Eric Sands, which was really great. I think that was the year that I met Angel Vivaldi. I think he came down and he was like 19 or something. I was 28 or 29, I think, and I think Angel's about 10 years younger than me, so he was 18 or 19. Been knowing that young feller for a while. Look at him now. What a guitar player he is. Oh, my cell phone may not last too much longer. I unplug my phone to set it up in this orientation. Susan, thank you. Guitar sounds incredibly thrilled to. Let's see. Your guitar sounds absolutely thrilled that you're having trouble sleeping. Like, yeah, we can play. Yeah. Yeah, we kind of are like Toto. Um, yeah. Why did I change? Like, I guess I can keep talking about the song now. Like, why did I change the song from insomnia to learning to sleep? Couple of reasons. Let me read this next comment. Let's see. Incredible, Miguel. You did work. If this is a sample of what's to come, the pleasure for us will be epic. Oh yeah, man. I think, like, when you hear my idea, I think you are going to find that I am not only coming out of this 10-year slump, whatever I've been going through. Like, I've just been brokenhearted and depressed and anxious and all the things and down and not able to do stuff and just trying to figure out my personal life and what's in my head and what's in my heart and all of that stuff. And I think what you will find with me now is a completely solidified new sense of purpose. Not that I ever wasn't serious about anything that I've been doing, but man, when you step away from things, like, you kind of appreciate things differently. And obviously, we're all getting older. We've gone through a lot of things in life. I've lost so many friends, family members, friendships, relationships lost, mistakes made, you know, dealing with, you know, your own repentance in your own life. Speaking for me, like, it's not a different game, but it is intensely focused. I think you will be very, very pleased with what I am going to suggest for us to do. Chris says, amazing work on the song, Mike. I think I remember hearing this at the concert and loved it then as well. Can't wait to hear more, man. Thank you, Chris. Chris has become one of my dear, dear friends these last several years, man. Thank you, brother. Your thoughts mean the world to me. I greatly appreciate it. Learning to sleep has a much more positive connotation. Yes, it does. Well, here's what I was thinking in changing the title to get specific. When I think about insomnia, it doesn't sound like that tune. Like that tune, while it has an anxiety to it, when I think of insomnia, and I am an insomniac, I've been an insomniac my whole life, whatever music that conjures up is almost unlistenable. So maybe at some point I will write something a little more specifically geared towards insomnia to deal with just that manic, crazed desperation when you haven't slept for weeks or months, you know, for more than like an hour at a time. Like, it's exhausting. It's exhausting. And of course, it just leaves you all the time in the world to ruminate about every mistake I've made and people that I've hurt and all of that stuff. So yeah, it's been awesome. It's been awesome. So learning to sleep. Since I was a kid, I've been an insomniac. And when I was younger, like when I was really young, when I was a kid, I would sit up and cry. Like God hates me or something, and He's punishing me, and I can't. He's not going to let me sleep. I would think about all kinds of things, man. Like, I remember seeing a documentary. It was on HBO. I was talking with somebody else about HBO the other day. Music that's unlistenable? You're writing for people? No, not exactly. Not exactly. But HBO was the new thing on cable. And there was not a documentary, but it was a show, kind of documentary style of, it was called the Man Who Saw the Future? I forget, but it was hosted by Orson Welles, and it was all about Nostradamus. It was all like all of his predictions, and of course it ends with end times prophecy and cataclysm and all that stuff. You know, I'm brought up in a pretty strict Catholic household. I read the Bible. Like, I knew exactly what they were talking about. Like, all those, that idea that, like, oh my God, the world could end in some kind of a nuclear holocaust. Spoiler, years later, all of that anxiety and being so desperately upset when I was a child led to the inspiration that allowed me to write Wormwood. I very much drew on that feeling, all that stuff. So anyway, it becomes a superpower when I discover, or I don't discover, like I wanted to play guitar forever. Forever I wanted to play the guitar. Finally talked, or maybe you've heard me play, Kevin's a badass guitar player. Don't listen to him, ladies and gentlemen. Don't listen to him. A couple other comments. Incredible music. You did work. Okay, I did read that. Amazing work on the song, Mike. I think I remember. Okay, I did. I'm caught up. I'm bad at internet stuff. I should drink more of this scotch. It's delicious. But when I'm 11, my dad buys me an electric guitar. Now, I have a theory about this, because my mom is the musician in the family, my dad is the military equation in the family, and they were divorced at this point. And I wanted a guitar bad, man. Man, I wanted a guitar so bad. Wake up, 1986, Christmas morning, my dad's house. Fucking electric guitar and a Gorilla amp with the tube stack button on it. Dude, you couldn't stop me. I don't even know who made that guitar. It wasn't even a Hondo. I don't know. It was some smaller aftermarket kind of 3 single coil bolt-on neck situation. It was terrible. And I didn't know anything about the guitar. I played violin before that. So I know anything about truss rods or how to adjust the action to set up a guitar. It just played like garbage. And I just played it because I just figured this is what a guitar is, right? Like, this is just what you do. You just play this as it is presented to you. And my dad made a deal with me. It wasn't even a Gibson. Like, maybe it was like Gibson adjacent, like maybe the dumpster next to the Gibson factory that somebody else put there. But my dad made a deal with me. He's like, you learn to play this thing, and like we'll get you a real one. Not that it wasn't a real guitar, but a decent playing guitar. You know, one that wasn't whatever he paid for that. I can't imagine it was much. I'm gonna try to get through my story before my iPhone dies on YouTube. My iPad is plugged in. It's got plenty of charge, but I guess I could try to plug this in, but I can't. I don't have a. How do I do this? Maybe if I do this, or sit you on top of. It's just gonna lean. We'll risk damaging the cable to keep the stream going, because I want to finish this. So I learned to play this guitar. Now, the good thing is, even though my brother's a few years older, I can't remember, he was bouncing around between living with my mom or living with my dad, but we shared a room whenever we were together, wherever that was. My brother's a musician too, but if I couldn't sleep, I would just sit up and practice. So in waking hours, I ended up practicing like twice as much as everybody else I knew. And I practiced too much anyway during regular store hours. Like, guitar just consumed me. It's all I wanted to do. If I was watching cartoons, I had the guitar in my hands. If the family was watching Star Trek, I had the guitar in my hands. Or I would play, or if I had the room to myself, I'd be transcribing records or whatever. Like, I just played incessantly. That carried on. When my younger brother Danny came around, he and I shared a room. And at that point, I was a much more accomplished guitar player. Danny was born when I was 14. So I'd already been playing guitar for 3 years. So I had a lot to practice at that time. And I had a professional gig, as I was saying earlier in the stream, with my mom's contemporary Christian folk ensemble. At that point, I was taking classical guitar lessons, and I had been studying rock guitar lessons at a music store and still transcribing and all that stuff. And I played in a band when I was 15 and started taking jazz guitar lessons and smoking reefer and just making all kinds of bad decisions. They were really not the worst decisions. And if my dad sees the stream, no, I wasn't smoking reefer. You know better than that, Dad. I was 15. For God's sake. Why would I smoke reefer just because I played guitar in a band? But yeah, that just like I just played guitar all the time. And if I couldn't sleep, I would either read a book or I would play guitar. And I don't read fiction. So I'm either reading music theory books or books. I have seen A Mighty Wind. Yes, I have. But I tend to read books about philosophy, religion, spirituality, so many things that I'm interested in, but history. But I'm not really a fiction reader. Like I like literature, but finding new fiction is kind of lost on me. To spend a lot of time reading a book, I want to get some good information out of it, or it needs to be so elegantly written that I'm going to get something out of the art of the written language. You know, it's got to be like Faulkner or Tolkien or C.S. Lewis or, you know, I like Shakespeare. I like so many things. Modern writers, you just don't see a lot of really great style. It's like people get a good story and they make it easy to read. And I guess the hope is that it's going to get to be, you know, made for TV or a movie. I think that's what a lot of authors hope for. Not that it's bad. I've read Dan Brown. I've read Tom Clancy. I have read some fiction. I find their use of language boring. Even if the stories are good and it keeps me engaged, read through like, I will take that back. Stephen King does write with an incredible amount of style. I will definitely say that. Oh, thanks, man. Thank you, Froge. You know, he hasn't heard it since the primordial, you know, probably me playing some rhythm guitar to a click track. Big fan of the reference section thing. Yeah. So, learning to sleep. For most of my life, I was really just learning to do what I could do when I wasn't sleeping. Because there's not an awful lot to do when you can't sleep. And you do go, like, you're tired. You're definitely freaking tired, you know? That's the thing. So if you can practice, you know, it's not like you're going to do super concentrated practice. It's not like I'm going to memorize a difficult piece of music. I'm not going to memorize a Bach piece when I'm that tired. The best time to memorize a piece of music like that is first thing in the morning, after you've had a little sleep and you've kind of refreshed your brain chemistry a bit. So as I've gotten older and been in relationships, like sleeping with your partner, they don't want you to keep them up with your practicing. You need to go someplace. You need to go to another room. Does the song include a C sus sharp add 4? That is a good question. I will let you guys fight over that in the comments. Like, is there like spoiler? I don't think I've written a piece of music that doesn't involve a major 7 sharp 11 chord, or at least in the family of major 7 sharp 11. I just don't think I'm capable of writing a piece of music without. It's one of my favorite sounds. So I know that quality of chord is definitely there, but is it a C? Is it a C? That's a good question. I'll give you some hints. When I initially wrote this song for Dreaded Marco, I play everything in Dreaded Marco in drop C tuning. This song evolved to 7-string, but it stayed in the same key of G minor. Yeah, now you got to transcribe it. And I want to see YouTube videos of people showing us how to play it, because I don't remember how to play it. So I'm I'm counting on you guys to play it. Smoking what? Yeah, man. Like it happens. It definitely happens. Especially now, like speaking of learning to sleep, I will imbibe in an effort to try to calm my brain and get sleepy. That's a thing. So learning to sleep. It's the musical representation of that amped up anxiety, because you're thinking about everything, man. You're thinking about fights, you're thinking about arguments, you're thinking about mistakes, from a present tense mistake that, oh man, I just had this argument with my significant other and really put my foot in my mouth, and I don't know how I'm going to walk that back and make better on that. You could be thinking about that, or you could be thinking about like that awkward thing you said in third grade when you had to stand up and talk about the animal that you liked. Like, it's great. It's great. So it's all of that anxiety, just that brain ruminating kind of stuff. So there's a good bit of that in there. There are, spoiler, like I write lyrics to all of these tunes. Like maybe there's not a lyric for every. There you go. Take Me Home. Exactly. I lost my train of thought because I was thinking about Take Me Home. Talking about the components of learning to sleep and the anxiety of not being able to sleep and just thinking about all of this stuff, like the energy of just ramping it up. And then like in the modern sense of it, like what do I do? Personally, like I wrote the song, so I guess I can personalize this, but like I think everybody can relate to this a little bit. Like what do we do when we don't want to focus on our thoughts? We start scrolling the internet. So like these phones and tablets and stuff like that, I'm surfing YouTube, I'm looking at social media and like scrolling endlessly, looking at stuff it's not great for your brain. Like everything on social media, except you guys, because you guys are great. And you're on my social media, so we're growing a community of like better-minded stuff. That's what I'm thinking. But there's a lot of stuff on the internet that's contentious, and it's about things that I don't want to argue with people about, and it's about opinions about things, and it's about people, maybe showing more of themselves than they need to be showing about themselves to get attention, whether that's, words that they say, things that they talk about. I'm guilty. Like I'll show people pictures of my cat. I'll post about Star Wars. I'll do it. And now I'm going to post incessantly about my own music again. But all of that stuff. So you're constantly barraged with, politics, religion, spirituality, hatred, arguments. So-and-so's, just met the love of their life. And now they're a narcissist. And now this is the only person that ever made sense to them. And now they're a narcissist. Or they're an abusive person. Or what, like the Sturm and Drang of the stuff that's on social media is so frustrating. And you get caught up on it. There's so many things. And I'm so grateful for it in so many ways. I'm still in touch with so many friends, from high school that we don't live in the same state anymore, so we never see each other, but feel like we're in touch with each other's lives because of social media. So it's really beautiful. It's like, what a complete clusterfuck of thinking. Of just emotional stuff that goes by. Like you're looking at one person like, oh man, they just lost their family dog and your heart's breaking. And the next thing is some absurd cooking video. Or maybe it's an irreverent joke. So just riding the wave of the emotional component of whatever's coming through your feed. Plus you're getting sold every possible thing that, Meta wants to put in your face. Anyway, there's all of that stuff. So it's like you're thinking about something. You're like, all right, turn off the TV, putting down the phone, I'm laying down, I'm gonna sleep. And then you toss, you turn, and you're like, fuck, can't go to sleep. So you're like, all right, I'll try a breathing exercise, try a relaxation exercise, all these things, like, all right, maybe I'll read a little something. You know, reading, at least your eyes get tired. When you pick up an actual book, your eyes will get tired and maybe you'll get a little sleepy. Like, that is kind of a thing. Try that. But then you find, like, I've just read 2 pages and I don't remember anything that I just read on these 2 pages because my mind is drifting off into, oh man, I haven't looked at Facebook in a minute. Oh man, I haven't looked at Instagram in a minute. I wonder if so-and-so that I'm just constantly thinking about, I wonder if they've posted anything. And if they did, is it angry? Is it angry about me? It's like just everything you just, I know me, like I'm obsessive compulsive. I take everything so personally. I'm constantly worried about all that stuff. So like, then it's like, all right, put the book down, pick up the phone. I'll just check this for a minute. And you check in for a minute or 10 minutes or something, and then it's 45 minutes. And like, bad at it. So what I'm trying to say, this sleeping thing, I'm bad at it. Like, I take sleeping tablets when I get desperate, and like they'll help me get to sleep. I'll sleep for a couple hours and then I wake up like I'm awake. So I need to get back in the habit of just practicing, but I don't have a guitar in my bedroom. I tried that for a while to where like I was trying to get myself back in the habit of like I'll just pick up my classical guitar and I'll just play quietly for however long. But I ended up taking the guitar out of my room because I'm trying to make that a place to rest. I think the worst things that I do is I do have a television in my bedroom. I should never have done that. I should have never done that. And also, I charge my phone on my nightstand next to my bed. I need to develop the discipline. I'm working on it. Pray for me, guys. I want to put the phone in another room. I don't want to have any chargers in my bedroom. And if I need to go look at the phone that badly, I need to get up and go do a thing or get on a computer. Like I'm trying to get to a place where like even social media is not on my phone. That way I have to do it old school. I have to go to my laptop and like punch in a web address because there's not an app for it and look at social media that way. But like now there's effort. Now there's like, and if it's not interesting, I'm not going to do all that. And like my laptop stays on this desk, which you can't see over here. And there's like a little laptop stand that like, if I'm sitting, it's kind of an awkward angle. It's not really desk height. Like that's my recording computer that's really set up for more of that stuff where it's more desk. I don't know why I'm doing the mannerisms. But in any case, if I'm going to just surf the internet on my laptop, I'm standing. I'm not sitting. So that gets tiresome. So when I remove the apps from my phone, I've tried this experiment a few times, it does force me to get to my laptop and I spend less time on social media because it's not interesting standing up looking at a laptop screen. So putting that barrier to entry is probably a good thing. The next thing I want to try to do is like, I'm going to get, like I teach lessons online and I'm live streaming. So like I need fast internet, but maybe if I went back to dial-up, huh? Like that would really put a frustration there. Matt King's in the house. What's going on, man? Yeah, social media is as great as you make it. And I just try to fill up the space with like musical stuff, maybe some philosophy stuff, maybe some Star Wars stuff. I try to share everybody else's music videos when I see them, you know, really promote everybody. Like I'm so blessed to know so many talented people doing so many things. Like it's not hard to share everybody's stuff because everybody does such amazing stuff. Like I know the most amazing guitar players and like you're all friends of mine. It's crazy. And you guys are all ridiculous. So like sharing your stuff, I'm watching it anyway, you know? So like by association, at least people go like, man, Mike keeps sharing these incredible guitar videos that he's not playing. Right? That's what I'm saying. Like, it's gotta be great stuff. It's got to be great stuff. If Mike's sharing it, he's trying to make himself look pretty good. So it's got to be great stuff. And it is. Like, I love you guys so much. You guys all do such incredible things. So learning to sleep, like, yeah, like, I never tell everybody all the lyrics, but I think if you really listen to it, you will hear that, like, the overarching phrase, lyrical phrase that keeps coming up throughout the tune is, I am not learning to sleep. And like at the end of the tune, You hear the little polyrhythmic double stop thing that I'm doing at the very end of the lead guitar bit before the outro. That is literally like these screamo vocal of "I am not learning to sleep." That's what that is. And like I do that with instrumental music for a number of ways. Like a lot of times, unless I just come up with a guitar idea, I'm like, oh, this will be a good guitar thing. I'm almost always thinking about a song because I'm a band guy and I play in bands. And like I have the dreaded Marco. Like I can write a song and it can become just a regular old tune, just played by a regular old band with regular vocals. And doesn't have to have all this weird shenanigans going on with whatever crazy McGee over here is thinking about all the time. So songs usually have things like that, and that's really great because I can work on anything in the car, and I use my voice notes memo on my phone all the time, which is great. Like if I'm here, it's on the desk, ready to go all the time. If I'm in the car, like I can just, right there is one button, I can sing an idea into the phone. Before I had a smartphone, I used to have to call my voicemail and sing ideas into my voicemail box, but it was way harder to aggregate all of those ideas out of your voicemail inbox. Whereas like the voice notes memo, like they populate on my computer so I can pull them into a playlist. Because like, I'm sure you guys that write have a bit of this too. Like sometimes over a course of time, you realize that like you keep chewing on something that's pretty well related to just a core of ideas. You may think, oh man, I'm writing like 4 songs. And then when you finally get them together, you're like, oh no, this really is one idea, and this is just variations on that idea, and it becomes, you know, a pretty interesting piece of music. You know, I'm dealing with that now. There are, let me think on this record, "The Light at the End of the World." There are 2 songs. One is a song called "Send in the Clown," which it's an idea that's been around for a minute, and it again started as a vocal tune, and it's finding its way as we're speaking with that, and it's kind of like a very aggressive Copperhead Road kind of idea. So it definitely has that southern metal thing that I think when people think about Atlanta and the bands that have come out of Atlanta, whether it's Stuck Mojo, which obviously I'm associated with all of that, and Seven Dust, and you know, like there's a really great pastiche of metal that has come out of Atlanta. Mastodon, like not that it doesn't sound like a Mastodon tune, but like Mastodon's really its own crazy thing. But in any case, it has this kind of southern rock metal thing that I've kind of been into for the last several years. That song also has not similarities, but there's some things that are close to it. There's another song that's going to be on this record that is also a repurposed Dreaded Marco song that the working title for it is called "The Climb." And it's finding its way onto this record too, just because I love the riff so much. I picked all stuff that I get really excited about. And I love the riff on that one. I think you guys are going to jump up and down and break stuff when you guys get to hear that tune. But there are things with that because Learning to Sleep, The Climb, and Send in the Clown, where they were all written in drop C. And I'm mainly, like for my stuff, most of the stuff I do is 7-string stuff or standard tuning 6-string. And tunes like Infection, I wrote Infection when we were working on My Kung Fu is Good. Now that was Rich Ward's solo record, so like I mentioned it to him. I was like, hey man, I know this is your solo record. You're probably not looking for songs because there were plenty of songs and they were all great, but I was like, I got this idea that I've been thinking about. Since we're working on your record, my brain just started kind of writing for this band. And he was like, he liked the riff. He's like, man, I really like it. But it would be weird to have somebody else's song on my solo record. I'm like, no, 100%. I'm just throwing it out there. Like, there's a thing. Here it is. So it found its way onto 2 of 5, and I reworked it as the instrumental that it became. And frankly, like, I love it. It's great. And I never really get to gig that tune out because it's in drop C, because when I work with Rich does a lot of stuff in drop C. So that ends to be a lot of the stuff that you end up thinking about. So if I'm doing stuff for me, most of my stuff is in standard tuning. Carrying a second guitar for one tune is problematic, you know, especially it's instrumental guitar stuff. Like, I'm not playing long sets, and if I am playing long sets, I'm doing a lot of improvising, which means I'm probably in standard tuning for most of it. So Infection only got gigged out a handful of times, because it would have to be a local gig. So if I was traveling, I wasn't bringing a third or fourth guitar around. Like, the backups, like, they needed to be practical. You know, if I'm going to break strings or something bad happened to a tremolo or something like that, like, I need guitarists that can handle that workload. So this is a bunch of stuff that's all kind of coalesced around that. And interestingly enough, there's also another song on this record that I'm very excited for you to hear. It's a song called Live Free or Die. And this song, again, drop C, started this life being written for the Great Revival, which is the last Stuck Mojo record that I did. We were looking for a specific kind of tune to finish that record out with. Rich opened it up to me. He's like, hey man, I'm looking for something like this. If you got something, let me know. I came back and I was like, I got this. And we were gonna do it. And we had a bunch of stuff going on. Like, we did so much work on that record on a summer tour that we were out across the US. And we had a big tour coming up opening for Volbeat in Europe. And our record label wanted delivery of the album or they were going to pull before the tour, or they were going to pull tour support for the Volbeat tour. And it's unheard of at the time. This was 2008. Like, record labels had given up giving tour support for bands, and we had it for this tour. So we didn't want to ruin that. So as we were looking at, like, what do we need to do to get this record across the finish line, we were not far enough along with this song, which at the time was just called Death, or Death Before Dishonor. It was going to not be a necessarily pro-military kind of thing, but in that sentiment, Rich got a lot of attention, and Lord Nelson got a lot of attention as well for Open Season on the Southern Born Killers record. This is a post 9/11 world, and they got a lot of press for it. That was before I joined the band. I just guested on that record and joined for the Great Revival. So we were thinking, you know, obviously that drew a lot of positive and negative attention, and we were trying to spin that because we both come from we all come from military families. Good Lord. So doing something very pro-military, you know, you can listen to the track "I'm American," and I think you get the idea. Like, we proud. We're okay with it. We're all a bunch of raging libertarians, so fuck it. So this was going to be my offering for libertarianism on the Great Revival. And we weren't there with it yet. I don't even know if we had delivered it to you, Lord Nelson. Thinking of that, like, I don't even know if you got it to even start writing lyrics for it at the time. So I held on to it for a long, long time. Catch up on some comments here for a minute. You were the first one with the iPhone, and honestly, that is true. Like, we were in Russia, and I thought I was going to get mobbed in Red Square because I was taking pictures with my iPhone, and it had just come out. And, like, there's a lot of pickpockets and stuff. It's first and only time I've been to Moscow. Like, what an experience, but craziness. You really came out swinging. The song is great. I'm so proud of you and happy. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so glad that you like it. Thank you. Thank you. Infection was always one of my favorites on 2 of 5. Thank you. Thank you. I will get to play it more now because now I'm doing a lot more drop C stuff. Dude, Mike, the new track is killer. Thank you. Thank you. Like, you guys are all being very, very generous with the positive comments on the song. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Above all things, like, I genuinely want it to be the kind of thing, anything that I do, like I want it to be the kind of thing that people listen to. And I know like we're pretty picky with our time to sit and listen to an album or a single or a song. So to be included, whether it's any of the bands that I've worked for and any of the records that I've either guested on or been a member of the band contributing to just guitar playing or writing or my solo stuff, crazy that people listen to it because they like it, not just because they're nice and they're like, oh, Mike's a nice dude and we should listen to it one time. It is really crazy, and I know Lloyd, you totally get this. Froze, you totally get this. Like, man, when you've done songs that get some radio play or MTV play, and then you play concerts, then people sing your songs back to you, or they write to you and tell you what your songs mean to them. Like, it is a humbling beyond all humbling things that is so far beyond just being in a cool band. Brent Kraft, what is up, my brother, man? I missed you. So good for you to drop in, man. It's late. It's like I didn't even expect to be on this long. And Peaches wants to jump up here. Come here, Peaches. Peaches, everybody wants to see Peaches. So get involved, buddy. Peaches, everybody. Like it's humbling. Like it's one thing that you just want to be in a cool band that people like, but to actually like to be added to the libraries of music that people like listen to because it means something to them is really, really humbling and really profound. And like I only try to do stuff that's meaningful to me, that I'm either interested in some kind of way, or it's hopefully unique in some kind of way, or it's expressing something. It's one of the beautiful things about instrumental music is, even though I do write lyrics for most of the melodies and all of that stuff to help me with my phrasing and coming up with interesting rhythmic ideas, because just saying words with syllables immediately puts a rhythmic spin on stuff. And I think that's one, if I had a critique of the genre of instrumental guitar music, I don't think there's enough interest put into interesting rhythmic stuff. A lot of stuff gets very samey, it gets guitar-y, and it's great. It's great. It's the lexicon that we all use when we play guitar stuff that sounds like guitar stuff. But trying to write something that's unique and have an interesting rhythmic flair, like rhythm's everything. No matter how cool your licks are, they got to happen in time. And if your time doesn't move somebody, then it's what good is it, right? And again, blessed to play with some of the most incredible drummers on the planet my entire life. So, like, that makes my job easier to think about rhythmic stuff when you have guys who are constantly playing the best rhythmic stuff. Like, it's really good. Even if it's just caveman meat and potato stuff. Like, I don't know, man. Phil Rudd's one of my favorite drummers. Forever. And anybody that says, like, that's not easy, like, you're wrong. Like, it might be simple, but man, making that stuff groove the way that it grooves, that's everything, man. Like, that's incredible. It's incredible musicianship. It's incredible feel. It's incredible time. Incredible sensibility for the song. Just playing for the song. Keeping that in mind is always fascinating. But also, while I'm doing a song, like, I can say the most irreverent thing. Like, I can air out every terrible thing I think about myself. Like, I would try not to say publicly, because they're horrible things that I think about myself. I can actually say that in instrumental music, and I can just pick myself to pieces because it's honest. I can do that, and people will just pick up on the emotional compact of it, and it means something abstract. I know what it means to me, and it doesn't matter if it means that to anybody else. They're going to ascribe their own meaning to it, and that's beautiful. And in that way, the art creation, it's kind of the philosophy that I'm moving forward with, is really like my creative process is in getting it to completion. And then once it's out there, it's like you really like. Obviously, I'm trying to make some money. You know, download it, please. That helps. But you really give it away. Like it's not in my head anymore. It's not just something that I've been playing that just means something to me when I play it. Like I've now played it, and I've imbued it with as much meaning as I possibly can muster. And that's really important. Oh, I do have a second charger. What is wrong with me? I have more chargers. I was prepared for this eventuality. Pardon my dropping phones and stuff. Hang on, YouTube. Hang on, YouTube, I'm coming back. That's probably a little more excitement than I planned to foist on you guys. I'm so glad you guys are loving the track. I'm so glad. But it's really beautiful to get to talk to people, because like you put a title on stuff and the title gives you an idea. Like I think everybody's dealt with sleeplessness, like learning to sleep. You know, but there's also a component of it too. Like it's not just learning to sleep is my new get a speeding ticket song. That makes me feel great, because I have definitely, while I've been testing mixes, I've been listening to it in the car, notice that I tend to speed a bit as well. So I'm glad that that's mutual. That is really great. You know, the other thing about it too is, you know, not just learning to sleep, but like learning to sleep alone is a thing. Like that's been a big change in my life, and that is something. So, you know, not learning to sleep, like it's uncomfortable. It is what it is. But that's certainly a part of it, and that certainly digs into the rumination about relationships and problems I've caused and havoc that I've seemed to have managed to have wreaked in my adult life. It's really great to have plenty of things to think about while you're not sleeping. Hey, Peaches wants to come back. So I'm not really sleeping alone, because Peaches is always there, and Lefty is always there too. Like they get grumpy when I'm out on the road, and like as soon as I come back, there's a handful of things we got to do. Like I have my obsessive compulsive things that I do when I come off the road. I have to unpack. Like I try to clean before I leave to go on the road so the house is clean. But I've got to unpack. I've got to unload the car. I've got to take care of cat stuff. Like if I'm gone for several days, litter box stuff has to be handled. If I'm gone more than that, you know, I'll have somebody come check on the cats for me. But usually I'm only gone for a handful of days, so like the litter box definitely needs addressing when I get back. But they're like, meow, we want wet food, because I don't leave wet food out for them. I leave dry food out for them. So they're like, they want the good stuff when I'm here. So they have to catch that up. You kept looking in the rearview mirror driving home. That's funny. That's funny. But then while I'm trying to do whatever other stuff, just to like get the road off of me and not in my field of vision, as soon as I sit down, they're on me. Like, and when it's time to go to bed, like I haven't even gotten under the covers yet, and Lefty is already pushing the covers down on me. I'm not even in the bed yet. And she's like, "Come on, man, come on!" Like it's a thing, and it's great. I'm really grateful for these cats. But that is a beautiful thing about instrumental music, is I can imbue all of that. Like, there's one brand new song on the record that I really just started writing specifically for this, and it's called Limerence. And it's probably good that it's not a lyric tune, even though I think this is a rare occasion, like in the development of the song, to get the melody done, I ended up writing a lot of lyrics for it. I had a lot to say about that topic. It's not going to be a vocal tune, and I don't know, maybe it would be interesting not to do a vocal version and an instrumental version, but it might be interesting to do a lyric video and have the words pop up in time with the melody as it's played. I have thought about that idea. It's interesting. But I can say anything I want. I can address anything I want in instrumental music, and I know what's in my head. You know, like, I don't want to say terrible things, right? Like, if I'm angry with me, like, that's one thing. If I'm angry with somebody else, like, that requires caution to not just say angry things to people. And I know that's something most every human being that has a family and has been in any relationships ends up dealing with, certainly. But the principle is, like, there is a boundary, there's a line where, you know, don't want to curse in terrible, you know, or tumultuous conversations where things are sensitive. Like, and be very careful using coarse language when somebody's already emotionally upset, you know. That escalates things. Like, trying to navigate the difficult conversations with people that are emotional, and they're necessary, without letting them escalate to a point of, you know, hurting each other with words. That's what art is really good for. It's like you can take that emotional stuff and put it someplace. It's partly why I like heavy music. You know, heavy metal, you can be pissed off at your parents. You know, like, but I didn't run around and get in a bunch of fights when I started playing heavy metal guitar. Like, just beat the shit out of my guitar. I felt great. You go to a concert, man, you feel freaking great. Listen, like, man, metal is where it's at, man. Like, the mix sounds great as well. Thank you. Thank you. That is, that mix was hard fought for. Everything really went pretty well with this song. Like, I've always felt pretty good about the demo. The couple of times I have gigged it out, I felt pretty good about it. It's an interesting song to play. It's a fun riff to play, just in the rhythm guitar and stuff. Like, that helps me a lot with that stuff. Working with Sean O'Rourke was great. Like, we had a few conversations about it, but he worked remotely at his studio. We didn't get together on the day that he tracked it, and he did a really great job. You know, came back with, like, what I wanted and more, which is everything that you want when you're trusting a musician to and inviting them to play on your music. And his drums sound are great. What he's getting at his studio are fantastic. That made that so simple for me to deal with that stuff. You just drop them in and you're like, everything's already sounding better because the drums are well recorded and they're well tuned and they're played well, and he's being so musical. The parts are great, you know. And I'm, especially in this modern era of everything is gridded to death in Pro Tools, everything's auto-tuned, AI is used for a lot of stuff now. I am being very accepting of performances, and I always have been. I don't like to over-edit things unless it's necessary. I would rather take somebody's feel and adjust the band to the feel that's more human and organic. Then I think we're missing a lot of that in modern music. Like, certainly since the early 2000s, where so many, especially metal bands, have been the worst at this. Like, beat detecting the drums to death to where everything is so gridded and pocketed and, like, sure, it's aggressive, but after a point, it's like, why didn't you just use a drum machine? You went to all this trouble to record drums to just treat them like a drum machine. Like, I've never been a big fan of that, but we've all made records like that. We've had to. But Sean did such a great job. Like, literally, I just dropped his drums in. I did not edit his drums. I did not edit them. There was no need to do it because he plays great. And if he was pushing and pulling, it was because he felt that that's what the music needed. Brent, so good to see you too, man. We need to catch up soon, man. I have not been up in Lake Country in a while, so yeah, one of these seasons before time goes too much further, we all need to get together for tacos or something. Maybe we can plan a drive-by when I'm on my way to Greenville or something, or even Charleston. Maybe I can stop through and we can have a lunch or something like that. That'd be great. So I got to get up there. I've got people to see in North Carolina too, so I need to do the tour of Italy and get some of the all of the different various pastas. So anyway, great to see you, brother. I love you. Have a great night. So yeah, like that went so well. The drums dropped in so well, like, and then when I started replacing guitars, like everything just went so well. And some stuff I had to be creative with because one of the things in accepting a performance, I wanted to allow some of Sean's creativity to inform my creativity, which allowed for some cool things to come into the song that weren't initially there. Like, I wrote them specifically after getting Sean's drums back because I was so inspired by his performance. So that was really great. And that led itself into some of the mix decisions that I ended up making because some of those parts didn't exist before. It was a little more straight ahead, and it's pretty meat and potatoes as it is, as you guys are hearing it tonight. But like tracking went really well for everything I needed to do with that. You know, whatever comping I did need to do to get final stuff, like just really pleased. Like for all the anxiety of working on a new piece of music and actually completing a thought, because that's been a problem. It's not that I haven't been writing. I have been writing. I have so much music, and I'm ready to start getting back to work at it. It's been a long process just to get standing up on two legs, which is why it's one song and not the whole record now. I needed to complete a thought without the worry of how I was going to promote it, till I could just get the bug and be excited about making music again. And hopefully that's going to light a fire in my belly to get back to work on all the rest of the stuff that I am doing and planning to finish. You know, because I feel like I worked really hard most of my life to be the guy who's like, if I say I'm going to do a thing, I do a fucking thing. And I don't fuck around. Like, I do the thing. I am not one to brag about a thing or talk a lot of smack about some stuff that I could do. Like, since I was young, I do things. If I say I'm going to learn that piece of music, oh, it's really hard. Like, I do it. I'm going to tour the world. I did it. I'm still doing it. I'm going to keep doing it. It took a lot of work to do all of that stuff, to any of this. Learn how to be an engineer, learn how to be a producer, you know, learn how to mix. Like, it's got to be done. And I have to do it. So anyway, mixing this. I had thought about if I had the budget, who I would have brought in to mix this. Because it is nice. In some ways, when you're working on your own music, it's nice to be able to just keep your hands on it. Because you're picky. And I'm picky. I'm very picky. And when I'm working with another band, whether it's Dreaded Marco or Agent Cooper or anybody else, like, because there's a collaborative effort to it, I tend to be way more open to the gallery and trusting who's at the helm and just offering ideas and not taking anything personally. If like you offer an idea and like, no, we're not doing that. Okay. It's not that my ideas are bad. It's just not the way that we're going, because they're just choices. They're just decisions to make in the creative soup of stuff. And when you've got 4 guys, 5 guys, sometimes, you know, all contributing to the oleo of ideas that's going to be in the final mix, like that's a lot. Somebody's got to have a hand on the wheel, and that somebody doesn't need to have, you know, everybody barking at them being like, hey man, I want to hear a little bit more of this. I can't hear my thing or whatever. So it's a bit easier in a lot of contexts, just like step back from things. When I mixed 2 of 5, I didn't mix it. I mixed it with Sean Grove. So really he mixed it at Tree, and we broke it out on the SSL console. It's why the record sounds so good. Sean Grove is a brilliant mix engineer, and that console sounds so freaking great. Like, every time something pops up from 205, like, I can't believe how good my first record sounds. And while I did work my ass off recording it, and I recorded it at home, Sean Grove really got that across the finish line. And I learned a lot mixing it with him. You know, we were, and really, I say mixing it with him, I'm really sitting next to him as the producer, executing all of the decisions that we're making. But like, as far as the technical know-how of like, even though you could even do that, like I've been a session guitar player, but session guitar players aren't there for mix down. Like, you're just there for the day. When your stuff is done, like, you got everything you need, you get your paycheck and you head on home. That's the thing. And then you hear the record later, you know, and like, oh man, you really hear how the song grew up without being so inside of it. You just accept it as the producer and the mixer presented to you. So I had started this process of doing this stuff. My O Come O Come Emmanuel, I mixed. And I took it over to my good friend Brian Stevens' studio to master it. And when we got there to master it, fortunately, because he and I have worked together a lot, like I recorded all the drums for 205 at his studio, and done many sessions for his studio as a producer and an engineer. So I brought it to him to master it. I just brought my hard drive over, figuring like if we need to tweak anything before we print the stereo mix for him to master, we've got the whole session if he wants to grab anything. And once we got in his room, I could hear everything that I was not hearing accurately in my room, and he could too. And he was like, we could do a couple things here. Like, I could put a few band-aids on this, or we can kind of rebuild this mix from a few core things. And we spent not a lot of time. Like, he's a really good mix engineer, so he moved through it quickly, but he gave me a really great education in mixing because I had already mixed it to the best of my ability. So my head was in the game as it was. So to go back through and hear all the changes that he made, and he didn't, they weren't even necessarily technical ideas. I mean, creative ideas. He took every bit of my creative impetus and intention in my mix, and he came back through and technically executed it for me. And it brought out all the detail that I was trying to get there, that creatively I had the ideas for, but just not the technical know-how to make it happen. And some of it was because I just, the room I've been recording in at that time, I wasn't hearing frequencies the way I needed to hear frequencies. So he really saved that one. And then the last one that I did was Wherever You Are. And that was done. Kerry Denton recorded the drums at his house. Everything about that went really well. And I did mix that one, but I had a lot of help. As a matter of fact, I sent multiple mixes to Mike Froge and a handful of other people so that they could listen to it in their room, just be like, if you're hearing something that I'm not hearing. Because like the experience I had gotten from O Come Emmanuel and what didn't work in my room as me mixing, I had a couple more years to study before doing that mix. But even still, it's like I had better monitors, better plugins. Pro Tools has upgraded a handful of times. Better sound reinforcement in the room, better just acoustic treatment, tamping down on some stuff. Still didn't have all the bass trapping exactly right. And that room was problematic because it was the wrong shape of room and everything else. Anyway, this is getting long-winded, and we've already been here for a long time, so I'll try to get to the point of this. So a lot of help, like specifically, and Mike is such a great mix engineer too, that he could listen to and be like, hey, I don't think you're hearing X, Y, and Z in the low register. Try doing a bit of this on your kick drum, a bit of this on your bass guitar. I think that's going to give you a bit more clarity, you know, like really good specific advice to not be in the same room and be like, hey man, let me show you what you should have grabbed. Like, so like it really was a team effort to mix it, but like I mixed it, but I had a lot of counsel. to get through that. Thank goodness. And then I believe I had Colin Leonard master that. If I'm not mistaken, I think Colin did master that. I did use Aria, which is Colin's robot mastering service, to master Learning to Sleep. I did that for a couple of reasons. One, Colin is the busiest guy in mastering that I know. Like, he is, like, all the Grammys, he gets them. Like, every song that gets a Grammy, he gets one for the mastering job on all of that stuff. And like later, he's mastering everybody's stuff. So to get his time is just about impossible, and he's worth the fee that he charges for his mastering services. But he's incredible. He's incredible. But the Aria robot is basically, it's an analog mastering chain. So it's everything that he uses in his mastering, just automated by a robot arm that comes over and adjusts the things that are set to adjust, which is, it's incredible. Like, we're living in the future with this stuff. I know there's like AI mastering out there, but like, I don't know that I would trust that. This is as close to non-human intervention as I think I could trust at this particular point. Because A, it's all analog outboard gear, so to get proper analog mastering is still partly why it sounds so great. Like, you can do AI plug-in mastering, and like, plug-in mastering sounds good. I'm definitely not saying it doesn't sound good, but I would probably want a human being making those decisions, with like somebody with some really good ears in a really good room that really knows mastering to do that, to trust them doing in-the-box mastering. And that's what I did with Brian Stevens, and the master that he gave me sounds incredible. And that's people's ears, right? That's the thing. You can still mess up a master with analog mastering chain, but like all of that equipment, like, if you don't know what you're doing, you're not touching that stuff, really. It all looks like science projects. Like, so cool. So anyway, I had already reached out to Colin just to see if there was a chance he could sneak me in somewhere to do some mastering for this tune. And while I was working through the mix, the big problem that I had with the mix is this room. This is the room that I recorded, edited, and mixed the song in. Now, this vaulted ceiling, which helps, but I have no Auralex up anywhere in the room. I have stuff in the room, but it's still fairly reflective surfaces in here. So that's a problem. Also, after I finished the it was April, I think I just signed off on my last edit, or my last comp of the lead guitar stuff. I think that was some of the last stuff that I had done. So not in the mixing phase yet, but like all the instrumentation is recorded. It's final. It's the final on everything. It sounds great. I've just got a rough, mix of just here's all the tracks to listen to. And I drove up to Nashville to play a gig with Josh Sattler and Falcon Car Wash, which is great because Josh is also a good engineer and one of my very great friends that I've been making music with for 25 years now-ish. Josh also played with Mike Froge in Double Drive. So like, this is family everywhere. We all keep it tight. So it was good to be able to play that for Josh and some of the guys from Falcon Car Wash, so they could just hear like where the status of the tune was, just from a performance aspect. Just get a read on that, which was great. And then when I came back from that trip, it was time to, couple things. I needed to start working on the mix, and I also needed to start working on getting ready to play that gig with Sammy Hagar, where like before I got the final set list, there were some Van Halen tunes on there. we did play one Van Halen tune, Finish What You Started, but we were also supposed to play Top of the World. Neither tunes are easy. Like there's not an easy Van Halen tune to play on drums or guitar or vocally. Like Van Halen is difficult. It's great. Like who isn't an Eddie Van Halen fan or an Alex Van Halen fan? So like super stoked. Like I'm a massive Van Halen fan, obviously, as a guitar player. How can you not be? I'm so influenced by every Van Halen record. I've played plenty of Van Halen tunes, like, but I'm also like just young enough to where I didn't learn Eruption. I've never learned all of Eruption to completion. Like I've showed students parts of it, but I've never actually like learned it to perform it because I was just young enough to where all the older guys that were playing guitar, like that was the showpiece that they could play. And I wanted to play Van Halen, but I also saw Steve Vai in Crossroads at that point because that was already a thing. And as much as Eddie Van Halen was the guy who made me want to get a guitar in the first place, seeing somebody like Steve Vai was like, I'm never not playing guitar. Never not. And Steve doesn't sound anything like Edward Van Halen. Like, that's all so different. And different in a way where, like, nobody could really play like Steve Vai at the time. There were plenty of guys trying to imitate Vai. Van Halen. And not doing a great job at it. Like, I think the guys who did better were guys like, you know, the real players. Warren DeMartini, Jakey Lee, you know, plenty of those post Van Halen guitar players that were killer. That they didn't sound like they were influenced, but they didn't sound like Edward. Like they took that influence, and they're good enough musicians to realize that what he does is so unique to his hands and his ears and his everything. Like you can approach it, but like nobody's ever going to do that. He's the guy that does that. So for me to hear so many guys, not to put down any of the older guys in school when I was a young Teenage Mutant Ninja guitar player, to hear other guys, like I'm interested, you hear a guy playing guitar, like, oh man, like that guy's really good, and then they start playing a Van Halen thing, and like, but that's wrong. But they're playing it wrong. That's problematic. I grew up in a classical household. Like you learned a piece by Bach, like you either playing it or you're playing it wrong. And like the Van Halen thing was so still new at the time to hear other people just trying to wrestle with it. And it's not that they couldn't play, you know, the solo to Ice Cream Man, or they couldn't play Eruption. But, you know, everything with Van Halen is about the rhythm. It's all about, like, his tone is incredible, his phrasing is incredible, but so much of it is rhythm. Like, you hear somebody try to play Top Jimmy, or try to play Panama, or Hop for Teacher, and, like, nobody swings like Alex and Edward. Nobody. I've heard some really good performances of Van Halen, but it's never that. It's never that. And I think most people that are true fans of the band and both Alex and Eddie as players, like, of course it's doable. You can do that, but there's a little something that they have that is just, it's theirs, and you can get close. Man, you can get close, but like, I think that the guys who can really get close at that stuff, I think Pete Thorne does a really good job. He's been so forensic with Eddie's style, like, and he's close, but I think he'll admit, he's like, yeah, but you can't. He's so close. He knows how far away he is, and it's not even like far away. Oh, thanks, Sean. Great to see you, man. Much love to you too, brother. Hope you like the new jam. Same thing with Phil X. Like, he's killer, man. Like, he gets after it and is like, man, he is studied it. Andy Wood is also, I've seen some videos with him too, man. He's worked his ass off at it, man. He really gets after it. But I think all three of those guys will tell you, like, that there's only one king, and it's Edward. Nuno Betancourt will tell you the same thing. Nuno is incredible. Dweezil Zappa, like, took lessons from Edward Van Halen. And, like, good Lord, he gets so, he's close, but he knows. He knows. Because, like, it's just different. When you're the guy, Edward was never going to miss. He would never miss. And, like, I can try to do it. I can get close. Maybe not as close as Dweezil or Phil X or Andy Wood. But, like, I've played enough. I'm a fan enough. Like, I can get close for me. Really close. But I think I do myself a lot better service just trying to be my own brand of quirky. Because that's what worked for Edward. He figured out he's quirky and he just leaned into it. And the whole world has changed. Jimi Hendrix, same thing. I think when you look at like Tosin Abasi, same thing. Steve Vai, same thing. Joe Satriani, same thing. You know, but really only Edward changed the world of guitar. Like, doesn't mean any of those other guys aren't monoliths, but like, it's kind of like the Ozzy factor. You start thinking about what Black Sabbath and Ozzy's music really means to all of us hard rock and heavy metal guys, like, this entire world would be fundamentally different without Ozzy Osbourne and Black Sabbath. Like, completely different. Doesn't mean that music wasn't getting heavier. Like, there was heavier stuff. Cream was kind of heavy for the time. Zeppelin was its own kind of heavy at the time. But Black Sabbath is a whole other thing. It's terrifying how dark and heavy and just aggressive Black Sabbath was. And like, so funky. I'm the best there is at being me. Billy Gibbons, right? That's exactly right. And like, I play in a Black Sabbath tribute. We got a gig coming up on the 9th. So it's like my first time playing anything Ozzy after Ozzy's passed. Like, I have a completely different sense about it. Like, Sabbath music, because that's some of the first stuff I got into when I was playing the guitar. You know, because not only was it the coolest riffs, but they were approachable, man. Like, you could play the riff to Paranoid and, like, feel great about it. Even if you weren't playing it 100%, you felt great about it because it sounds like Paranoid or Iron Man, like any of it, or Black Sabbath. Like, all of that stuff, Fairies Wear Boots, like all of that early Sabbath stuff, you could approach it as a fledgling guitar player. So, like, when I was young, I knew a bunch of Sabbath tunes. I knew a lot of AC/DC tunes. I knew a lot of early Priest tunes, a bunch of Maiden tunes. You know, I started getting into the Priest and Maiden stuff. I started getting more into the lead guitar stuff and the more fancier things. So things got a little more complicated. You know, now you can start approaching Metallica. You know, like the first time I heard Ride the Lightning, I was already playing guitar, and I'm just like, well, what am I going to do with this? You know, and then Master of Puppets comes out. I remember, like, I was already a fan of Metallica when Master of Puppets came out. What? You know, like, it was an escalation of things to try to transcribe. So great, but like, Black Sabbath was the gateway for me for all of that. I think everybody pretty much recognizes that. We might have all still played guitar. We might have all still done a bunch of things. But it would be different. It would be different. No question. I don't know that it could be any better. Different, similar, adjacent, but different, certainly not better. Like, being in this Black Sabbath band, like, I've got to go through and play a whole bunch of tunes that I have not played in forever. And man, all of it feels great to play. You don't have to overplay it at all. Like, Tony Iommi is he's one of my guys. He's forever going to be one of my guys. you just don't fuck with that because it's going to be great. Just, you know, play like me. He's such a bluesy player. You know, and Tony Iommi is one of the reasons I'm a bluesy player. Guys like him and Hendrix and Jimmy Page and like all those guys, David Gilmour, so great, so much blues in their playing. Like, I never thought about, you know, I didn't want to be like Yngwie. I grew up in a classical household. I heard Yngwie, I was like, man, this is incredible. But it sounds like a bunch of Bach, and I want to get into rock guitar so I don't have to play any more fucking Bach. So I didn't learn it. I didn't learn any of that stuff. Like, I didn't really get into any of that neoclassical stuff until much later, until I was like 16 or so. And like, even still, I love Yngwie, but I love listening to Yngwie. I don't play anything like him. Like, I just don't. Like, my approach is not that. It's not that at all. Like, I've toured with Yngwie, seen him play from, you know, 20 feet away, 10 feet away, whatever. He's incredible. He is incredible. And I'm glad he's doing it, so I don't have to do it. Because I don't play anything like that. I have my own brand of, you know, when I'm playing really fast or shredding. Peaches wants to come back and say hi. I do my version of that stuff. But holy cow. Holy cow. Yngwie. What do you... So good. He's always so good. Oh, he's always been so good. But I got into some of that neoclassical stuff because at the time, I really liked Tony McAlpine. And the guy I was studying with in Myrtle Beach, Tom Yoder, still a great friend of mine. He's an incredible guitar player. He gave me a tape, and on one side was Perpetual Burn, and on the other side was No Parole for Rock and Roll by Alcatraz, that's got to be my favorite Yngwie record. Like, I like the early Rising Force and stuff, so like all the Yngwie stuff is great. I'm definitely not saying what I'm picking, but the tunes on No Parole are really great. I really enjoy that record. And maybe it's just part of that time in my life too, where like those were the days of you had the tape deck in the car that would like auto reverse. So like you put it in one side and would flip to the other side without you having to take it out and re-put it in. I was crazy about Perpetual Burn. Jason Becker had recorded that record when he was 17, and I was 16 when I heard it, and it had already been out for a couple of years. And like my teacher's like, then this is kind of what young guys are doing, and I was like, I don't think I can do that, man. That is some crazy shredding guitar playing. And he was the guy who convinced me that, you know, I could level up my technical chops and get into more of the neoclassical approach to things. Not that Tom is a neoclassical player, but he just has such an incredible ear and such incredible technical facility that he can transcribe anything. Anything. Really, what a great couple of years studying with Tom. What a great mentor and friend and influence he got to be on me for all that stuff. So anyway, I have gone on lots of tangents about all of this stuff. And my final point, I guess what I was trying to get to the point about was mixing. I was really concerned about the mix, but I think the mix turned out really well considering how hamstrung I was here. Oh, that was the last bit of the story. I was talking about Josh and coming back from the Tennessee show, and it was going to start mixing and was working on the Van Halen tune. And to play Van Halen, that takes a second. My ADD brain will get there. Playing Van Halen with Sammy Hagar was a little bit of pressure on me that I was very excited to take on. It's good to know that, you know, while I haven't stopped playing altogether, like I've been playing, and so I've maintained a good bit of my chops. I haven't been practicing the stuff unless I was going to record something and something was difficult, or if I'm teaching something to a student, work it up and, you know, give them the demonstration of it. And I do a lot of very difficult things with Jesse's Girls. Like I'm not playing an easy gig. Fortunately, our music director gives me plenty of rope to to run on. So like there's a lot of stuff where like this is the part and it's R&B and it's funky and like I'm just gonna lay that pocket right there, just make it feel good. But then he gives me enough room to where I can interpret some things and I can sometimes deviate from the record because I mean we're playing all popular music, but I can deviate a little bit from the record and maybe revoice some things. It's good having a lot of experience as a session guitar player because a lot of these newer pop tunes, I don't really listen to top 40 radio or Spotify playlists or anything. So some things I become aware of because you just hear them out and about. But a lot of times, a lot of the music that I know that's current, I know it because I've had to learn it for Jesse's Girl. So that's literally my first time hearing it is like, you need to learn this. And it's been a lot of music. We do a 3-hour show. So some of it, you kind of have to homogenize things a little bit so you learn the shape of stuff. And then it kind of becomes like trusting your instinct as a session player to like, well, if I don't know exactly what the record is, I at least need to show up as if I was the session guy for the day that they recorded it and trust that I'm a good session player and could do that work. Yeah, what were we talking about, right? So I do get to flex a lot of stuff in that band. But I was really excited to do the Sammy gig and actually like be like, oh, like I don't just have to show up and be a good guitar player. Like this is really an opportunity where like you could just get through the gig or you could really step up. And I took the opportunity with that. Really, the Sammy gig is probably the biggest reason that I got Learning to Sleep done and that this record is happening. Because if it was just left to me, I've not been in a good place with my self-esteem over lots of things. Like I've lost not my faith in myself to be able to play the guitar. Like I'm okay with that, or that I'm interested in playing the guitar. Just some of the depression and anxiety stuff has been a lot of like just not being able to make plans for the future. And like it hasn't just been a problem with creativity because like I'll write, I get interested in writing, I do get interested in practicing, and you know all of it, like that's good, but it's been a bit more immediate with stuff. But it's been a problem in my personal life too because like I've not been able to make any plans, and if people need to count on you for a thing and like I can't commit to a thing, like that's not good. So after many attempts to get back on the horse, this sort of being the first time I was like, well, you have to do this gig with Sammy Hagar. You've already agreed to do it. So you have to step up. There's no getting around it. Oh, you just joined on? Oh, funny. So while we're here and while we're doing that work, let's use this as an opportunity to springboard. Like, let's get up. I have to get up for this gig anyway. Like, this is going to be a lot of work. Like, then let's get up. And also it's an opportunity, if I do it well, I'll get a lot of attention for not having done a lot for the last 10 years. You know, I think we did a handful of Dreaded Marco gigs before COVID. I did some jams in town. Like there's just not been a lot to even like advertise about. Like what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? I don't want to talk about what I'm doing because I have to talk about what I'm not doing and why I'm not doing it. You know, and then people trying to give you a pep talk and give you advice about how to get out of your shell and out of your head and all that stuff. And like, I mean, it's been a lot. I went through a period where like I was getting desperate to maybe get on some anti-anxiety medication. And that, like, right about the time I was about to tap out and say, Uncle, I'll go get on medication for something because this is brutal. That's when Chris Cornell killed himself, and he was on antidepressants and stuff. I'm like, I'm trying not to do that. And if one of the greatest singers, songwriters, in one of the greatest bands of all time, one of the best looking men on the planet, that I don't think there'd be an argument. Men want to be him and women wanted to be with him. Like, just like the perfect guy. in every way, shape, or form. And to be successful at that, so money's not an issue. And for everything that I could tell, had a wonderful family with kids and all of that stuff. Seemed like he really had a lot of things worked out in his life at that point. So like, still lose the fight. Like, I decided not to take antidepressants because like, if he can't get around his thoughts on antidepressants and like watch any pharmaceutical commercial, and once they get to the side effects of whatever the medication is, like, why would anybody take most pharmacy? Especially like most of the stuff for antidepressants or stuff to deal with Alzheimer's or diabetes, like they all come with like one of the major symptoms is suicidal ideation. Like why would you take that? Like that's the thing I'm trying not to steer down the path of those types of thoughts. Why would I even risk something that has a potential side effect of that? Like maybe what I need to do is get out in the sun. Maybe I should, go back to the gym, get my diet in order. Stop drinking alcohol, which I'm doing a bad job of drinking the scotch. But, like, this is the 2-hour glass of scotch. Cheers, everybody. So I didn't do that. Like, just have had this incredible fear of anything I'm trying to do to get right with stuff. I have all the reason in the world to try to get right with stuff, I have wonderful people in my life that I want in my life, and I want to be reliable and dependable for them in every manner of speaking. I don't want people worried about what's happening to this guy. God, my hair's getting all crazy. This ponytail's a little long in the tooth. So I've been really worried about that. But it was the first thing that, like, other than having a gig where I just needed to learn music for a wedding or something like that, like, it's a little more special to do the Sammy Hagar gig. Not that any of the work isn't special. Like, I literally treat every gig like it's Madison Square Garden. I prepare for every gig like it's Madison Square Garden. Because my philosophy is, like, if you don't have that dignity for the smallest of sheds or wedding gigs or coffee shop gigs or whatever, you don't deserve to play Madison Square Garden. And then what are you going to do even if you did get there? Right? You've been slagging off all these small gigs because they're beneath you, and then you're going to get there and like, oh, I feel like I'm up to this, and you've never actually been up for that. Like, good luck. Like, I don't get stage fright ever. Like, I get excited. I have no performance anxiety whatsoever. Like, playing a concert is one of the very few things in life that feels like I am exactly where I'm supposed to be, doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. Everything makes sense when I'm playing a concert or being on tour. And I think a lot of that just comes from, like, just never, ever taking for granted any gig, at all. And that's why, you don't panic playing with Sammy Hagar, playing Van Halen tunes, But it was a lot of pressure of, like, I've been really concerned about it. I won't get deep in this. This live stream has gone long enough. I'll try to find a nice place to wrap this up on a positive point. But the idea of, like, not being able to focus on a plan for something, and, like, there are people that need me to get my shit together, So it's not just me that I'm letting down. I started to get real worried. It's like, I think I can focus on this. I'm not going to freak out and not be ready for Sammy Hagar. I kind of wanted Learning to Sleep to be ready at the time, because I knew if I got some good video of me playing with Sammy Hagar, there'd be people going, not only, oh wow, Mike's playing guitar again, but Mike's playing guitar again, like coming out and playing on the level that I think you guys expect me to be playing on, and to have the validation of, like, doing it with Sammy Hagar or anybody of that reputation. Like, It's not something to take lightly. It should be capitalized on, because it's who gets the opportunity to do this? Like I've had so many really great opportunities, but this is one, like, I don't know that I'll ever get this opportunity again. You know, I think he liked playing with me. I don't think he would say no to doing it again, but I don't know if the opportunity would present itself again. You know, we shall see. I'm going to be working on that. But in any case, I didn't have the track ready. I got behind on a lot of things, and some of it really had to do with I had to replace my studio monitors. That's the thing I keep trying to get to the point on. That is the whole point. Here at the very end, I'm finally remembering that the day I get back from Tennessee, I'm going to start mixing. My right monitor blows a fuse. I have replacement fuses. Put the replacement fuse in, blows that one. I put one more replacement, I only had a couple, but one more replacement fuse, blew that fuse. So clearly there's a problem with that monitor. I'm going to have to send these things off. Well, fortunately, my roommate, David, his equipment is still here, even though he's not here because of his medical emergency. He had this pair of Mackie HR824s, which they're good sounding speakers, but I don't know them. So now all of a sudden I put them up and I'm going to start mixing, and I immediately go like, I don't know these speakers. I'm going to have to learn these speakers. So it starts the process of every record I've worked on, I need to listen to. Every one of my favorite records I've listened to 1,000 times. I need to listen to those. I need to listen quietly. I need to listen loud. I need to, like, and like the speakers sound really good, but fundamentally it was a big change, which threw off, you know, I felt pretty good about getting ready to mix because I had just mixed a song a few months ago for one of my students. I'm helping him do a record, and we got one song finished, and I mixed it for him, and we both were very happy with the way the mix turned out. And it was in this room with my KRKs, and I just know those speakers because I've been working on them for so long. I can make decisions that I feel comfortable with on those. On these, like, it took me a minute, and it took several mix iterations. Like, I did send out some early mixes that were nowhere near close, just to be like, let me just see, like, from the ground up, like, am I already in trouble, or am I already sent it out to my friend Adam Fox? He heard some things like, hey man, let me try doing some stuff. Like, I already know that if he's saying that, then it's not going well. So I reassessed a lot of things, and I think I got through 11 mixes. I think is where I stopped. That's how many attempts it took me, and I was just patient with it because I didn't want to get frustrated. Like I said, I'm trying to be kind to myself and get back on the horse. So this has all been pretty important. So yeah, I had to do it in this untreated room with speakers I was unfamiliar with. So when it came to mastering, which is why I was talking about Colin Leonard, I really wanted his ears at the very end of it to catch anything I might have missed. He's been so busy I didn't even hear back from him. So I just decided, the last mix I had sent out that I felt good about, I had thrown some very mild mastering chain on my mix bus, which I didn't want to commit to, but I do that just to give me a rough idea. Thank you, Sean. I appreciate it, man. Really appreciate that. And we got a thing coming up, right? The guitar. Oh, dang. Don't we have the Guitar Hero thing? Isn't that, Sean, let's talk tomorrow. There might be a thing that we talked about that I've forgotten about, and I think that's Sunday. So we should probably talk about that because I've been a little preoccupied. But anyway, I decided with that, I had used the Aria robot analog mastering for my student Mark's song, and we thought it sounded great. Really, really great. So I was like, you know what, for the quickness of it, let me at least do this and see where in the ballpark I can get. Because if this can make me happy, then maybe we can do this. If it was a whole album, I probably would have held out to try to get on Colin's schedule. But for one tune, it's like, well, I can really hyper focus on this. Let me see if I can get it across the finish line. And I think the ARIA mastering sounds great. I'm really pretty pleased with the way the master turned out. It's very aggressive. Man, it's aggressive. Like I even like you have a few iterations with the robot to revise the master if you want to just affect if some of the EQ is not hitting the way that you want it to, like the bass is getting boomier than you wanted it to, or cutting off too much of the bass. Like you can go back in and be like, more bass please, more top end please, less top end, and you can even deal with the overall gain of it, because like it's kind of auto set for the rock parameters that you get to choose from. It's sort of pre-slated to work with whatever a modern rock record is going to sound like, which is, you know, the loudness wars. Everything is really loud. Now, I like loud masters. Like one of my favorite records in the last 15 years is Wasting Light by the Foo Fighters. I remember when that record came out, I was like, God, this record sounds great. And then when I got to listen to the record and see the metering on it, like it is slammed. It is brick walled. It's incredible. It is so loud and it is so aggressive and it is so clear, and it doesn't feel clipped. It still feels dynamic. Like what an incredible mix and master job on that record. So that's one of the records that I was listening to. That, some of the new Sleep Token stuff sounds great. And they're, again, very low-tuned guitars, 7 strings, 8 strings, and there's a little bit of 8 string in the rhythm guitar part to help beef that stuff up. So I was listening, like I don't want it to sound like a retro record. I wanted it to sound modern. Like if you heard this on a playlist it doesn't sound like Sleep Token, it doesn't sound like Foo Fighters, but if you heard it next to those on your Spotify playlist or Pandora playlist, if it came up, it would sound in the ballpark. It wouldn't sound so off, you know. And there's a danger to that. Like you don't want to sound so close to stuff that people can tune it out. Something's got to catch the ear. So hopefully I hit a nice balance with that. But my thinking was, if I didn't like what the ARIA mastering sounded like on this, it's a very cost-effective approach to mastering as well, to where if I didn't like the way the master turned out, I could still, you know, pay the expensive but reasonable fee for, you know, Colin to actually personally master it. But I'm really glad it worked out this way. I'm going to be really interested. The plan from here, this is where I'll leave you guys, because this has really gone on as, God, this is a 3-hour live stream for me. Thank you guys. Thank you. Like, thank you. Having a bit of trepidation about what happens after today, because this was a deadline that I was able to impose and I was able to meet it. I've been really worried about, you know, sliding back into depression. You know, I'm sure any like there's so many musicians in the chat here. You know, a lot of us deal with like the post-tour blues, or like there's such great highs. You play a giant festival and you're like, it's an adrenaline rush, it's a dopamine hit of dopamine hits. Like, I don't need to do drugs, man. That is the drug. Like, holy heck, man. Playing music live, touring is just one of the most incredible things. But it is an escalation, it's elevated, it's here, and it's intense, and then when you get home, there's a crash. And the lows are punishing. At least they have been for me. I know some other people that have dealt with similar things where they get depressed after coming home from a tour. It's like, on the one hand, you're glad to stop moving, but on the other hand, where you've just spent the last 6 weeks, you know, in close quarters with people, and everybody's excited to see you everywhere that you go, and there's magazines, and there's radio, and there's television, and there's all the things, and then there's concerts, and there's meet and greets, and then there's fans, and then there's signings, and there's merch booths. Like, it's exciting, and everybody's excited to see you. Everybody's happy to see you. And like, no matter how tired you are, you're happy to see everybody because it's a new city every night. It's a new meal, you know. It's a new accent on the street. Culture all around you. Like, I'm so in love with this world. I'm just so passionate romantically about this world, and to get to play music and see it and meet people. Like, I'm so grateful. It's amazing. But like, you do that and then you come home, and it's not just that home is boring and it's depressing to be home. It's the inertia. Like, it's like an emotional kind of jet lag in a way where you've got to just, and now we take the garbage out, and now we go to the grocery store, and now we do the laundry, and now we wax the floors, and we wash the windows, and we scrub the toilets, and none of that's bad. Like, I don't look down at any bit of that at all, but it's really hard, you know, especially like everybody scatters after a tour. You just spent 6 weeks intensely on top of each other with, you know, your band of brothers, you know, and then you get home and like you've been talking every day with people about everything that you're experiencing, and now you're experiencing something new and none of those people are there. And the people that are there don't understand this downward slope. They're just excited that you're home. And that can cause problems because like you're trying to express it, and like it's a very weird thing that I've noticed too, that you know, sometimes you feel down about a thing. Like when I got home, for example, from the Sammy Hagar gig, like I felt great. That gig went about as well as I could have dreamed it went. Like that is a highlight of my life, not just my career, of my life. It was an amazing experience. And I didn't have time to really enjoy it there, because I had to get up for an early flight to fly back to Atlanta to play a wedding here. So there's a lot of moving parts of like having a rig to play in Oklahoma, plus having a rig here. I had a problem with, I had broken the bridge pickup of my signature Delaney guitar while I've been recording all this stuff and doing all these gigs, and I was getting ready for the Sammy Hagar gig, and like bridge pickup went out. I broke the coils because I was playing so aggressively, was anchoring my pinky on the pickup bobbins, and like ended up rubbing through the tape and getting to the copper coil and breaking some of the coils. So like had to get a last minute replacement for that. As a matter of fact, I was so worried that I might not get a pickup sent to me from DiMarzio fast enough that one of my students has one of my signature guitars. I borrowed my signature guitar from my student that he owns so that I could have my signature guitar. So I didn't want to do the Sammy gig without my guitar. Like I have other guitars that I could play, but you know, we're trying to, me and Delaney Guitars, we're in business on this thing. Like I need people seeing me playing with Sammy Hagar with a guitar that we're trying to sell, not some other brand of guitar that I'm not endorsing, right? So that was important for me to have one with me. So, you know, thanks to Mark for letting me have it. And then I got the pickup sorted out. And then I held onto his guitar to where I was going to bring it as a backup for the gig. And then I ended up, just the way the travel was, I just brought one guitar, which was super dangerous. It's like, you break a string, it's like, I have a floating bridge. If I break a string, there's no dancing around that. I have to stop and change a string, or somebody's got to hand me another guitar. Like, there's nothing I can do about it. So it's pretty dangerous. Let's see. I work a lot. My schedule is quite hectic. I barely have a bedtime routine. It's really hard for me to get to sleep most nights. Yeah. And depending on my schedule, like, I'm usually up pretty late because I don't sleep anyway, but I usually at least try to rest. Get to bed, maybe I'll watch a podcast, and hopefully I can fall asleep while I'm watching a podcast, which is always a double-edged sword because I only watch podcasts that I'm interested in, so I want to stay awake for them. That's like, so like I have a hard time choosing stuff to watch that, like, if I was going to pass out what could I pass out watching? It can't be something that like I'm really engrossed in because I'll stay up and I'll be super interested in it. So like, for example, like everybody knows I'm a Star Wars nut. I have watched every Star Wars show and movie so many times because I know them, so especially the original trilogy and the prequels. I've seen them so many times. It's almost like rocking the cradle for me now. It's like I will watch them and stay awake and watch them with rapt attention. Like that happens too. But I've watched them all so often. There's plenty of times like I could just put on A New Hope and like fanfare, Star Wars logo, the scroll. I don't even see the big Star Destroyer. Like I'm asleep. It's like rocking the cradle, man. It's a thing. The comfort of that. And like I've watched all the shows now so many times too. Like whenever I do a marathon of Star Wars, I put on like the Clone Wars. There's so many seasons and episodes, and I've seen them all so many times because it's been a tradition to run all of them every year. And sometimes it's been multiple times a year if I just want to watch it, which I did mention I'm obsessive compulsive. Like I have issues with this stuff, but like that's great because I can just put those on and like I know the stories well enough that it can lull me into sleep. So, learning to sleep. Learning to sleep. It's figuring out all this stuff, man. What to do with this, the waking hours and like, I don't know. And now that I'm getting older too, like, who wants to sleep? Like, I kind of want to be awake for this stuff. There's stuff to see. There's books to read. There's information I want to know. There's music to finish. I have so much music to finish. Like, I'm really grateful for all of you guys and all of your support because like it's the shot in the arm to get onto the next thing because I'm really wanting to leapfrog all of this stuff so I don't get too overwhelmed with one thing and it's going to be great. Like my immediate move from here is I have a podcast that I'm doing, a music industry podcast I'm doing tomorrow to promote this new release. I've got some other phone calls I've got to make. I had considered doing another live stream tomorrow at a reasonable hour since this one is so late for anybody who missed this one. So I may still do that. I'll think about it. I was going to set it up tonight, but maybe I'll just do it impromptu. See how I feel about it in the morning before I do the podcast. But then I have a rehearsal with Slack Sabbath on Monday because we've got the gig next week. So I've got to get that set because like I said, Madison Square Garden. Like I'm about to fucking play some Black Sabbath. Like my life depends on it. We just lost Ozzy, right? Like every time you play it now, and it's always meant the world to me anyway. But fuck it, we're about to play it because we mean it. Like it's everything now. And then the rest of August, I have some Jesse Scroll stuff coming up at the end of the month, but I pretty much have the rest of the month to deal with some personal things and get into the next song. The next song is called Waiting. And Sean has already recorded the drums for me. I've had them for several weeks, so it's just waiting for me to do my final guitar tracking on it. And I've been listening to the last rough mix that I did. Like as soon as Sean sent me his drums for it, I threw together a rough mix for it with all of my, very well recorded scratch guitars. And I try to do very well recorded scratch guitars just in case I get lightning in a bottle and it needs to get to the final mix. I think the main guitar solo and the outro guitar solo are keepers. Like I'm gonna try to see if I can top them, but I like what I did so much that I don't know that I can. It may be a fool's errand to spend too much time trying to top something that I already feel pretty solid about. And like I think for the guitar enthusiasts out there, I think you'll dig it too. It's quirky, sounds like me, yet it's different from other guitar solos that I've done. And that's something I'm aiming to do. Like I'm constantly trying to make every composition sound like its own composition and stand up on its own, even though it's got the constant thread of whatever my usual harmonic, quirky personality bits all over it. I embrace them, damn it. So I may be able to get through that one pretty quickly. My plan is start working on that. I'm ready to send him the next song, which is Live Free or Die. And again, the scratch guitars are pretty well recorded on that. I may do a lot more on that one. We'll see. Again, the leapfrog thing. Once we get past August and get Waiting and Live Free or Die done, because I've gone back and forth. At one point, I was going to do just a series of singles leading up to the Drive album and get that done as a one collection. And then as I was pulling things together, go like, well, which singles would I do? It started looking like a pretty decent album together. So I think the plan is see how well Learning to Sleep does, because now it's been out for 2 hours and 15 minutes. I'm going to try not to look at any analytics until later tomorrow, maybe tomorrow night, maybe not even till after the weekend. Just try to keep promoting and promoting and promoting, and hopefully it's doing well, and I'll be over the moon. It's like the main thing I've got to hold on to is just the creative impetus. I just want to keep that fire in my belly, because while, yes, I do need to get this business up and running so that I can be touring with my stuff and doing all the things that I need to do as an artist, because this is the setup for the rest of my life, right? This is now the 50s. I just laid around in a malaise of depression through almost the entirety of my 40s. Like, I just lost a decade of my life to mental health. It's time to accept that that's there and get on with the rest of this business. So it hangs together well as an album. Let's try to get it done. Let's try to, no matter how, do it scared, do it anxious, do it terrified, do it angry, do it horny, do it depressed, whatever, it's art, having real feelings about real things will make it real, I'm not here to pretend about anything, but I do have a lot of stuff to do while I'm here. So let's get it done, Not only did I have all of that music that I was ready to get to work on in 2016 when I stopped doing all of this work, I have continued to write the whole time. Maybe not as, maybe not as much, not as voluminous, because like there's nothing as inspiring as having a deadline and a project to finish. But just as things strike me, I keep picking at stuff. Like I have so much to do. I have so much to do. So the rest of this year, once I get through these 3 tunes, I still think it's going to hang together as a record. I sadly don't have as many gigs for the rest of the year as I financially, budget-wise, feel comfortable with. So I've got to deal with some financial stuff, which again, is also why I'm hoping sell some music, sell some merch, get some subscription on the website, get some new students. I definitely have some spots for students. I could probably add about 10 students to my schedule right now. So if you know people looking for a guitar teacher, music theory guy, I'm like a Dollar General Rick Beato. I said it. So if you're looking for budget ear training, budget music theory, and an absurd amount of knowledge about a bunch of stuff, but nowhere near as detailed or as personality driven as Rick Beato, I'm your guy. I'm your guy. And I'm available. So yeah, let's do it. So, and I also, because I enjoy composition lessons, and anything. Like the cool thing about theory is like it doesn't just have to be guitar students. If you know kids that are studying band and orchestra in school, they get so much theory with band and orchestra in school. If they're interested, they may want to take an extracurricular theory course just to get ahead if they're getting serious about music. That's the thing. So I'm here. So between that, figuring out how to pay my bills and eat, and more importantly, keep the cats fed, because if the cats aren't fed, I'm going to have even more trouble. It's that and finishing this record. I want The Light at the End of the World out before the end of the year or January, like right after the holidays. Because if I'm doling out singles, I've got time. Like I don't need to try to put out a single a month, unless it looks like it's going that way. Because I could conceivably have Waiting out in September. I don't think so. I think it's probably going to be October, personally, because I'd like to give this song a couple of months while I'm getting my PR game together. So I don't really have a PR game together, as you can tell. I'm just going to keep talking to the internet until somebody says, hey, guy, you could stop talking. Right? All right. On that, that's probably as humorous a note as I could possibly do. I can't believe 15 people on YouTube and 4 people on Facebook. You guys are the best. Let me see if there's any comments that I missed before I go. Make sure you share the podcast details. Yes, I don't think it's a live podcast. I think we're taping it. So we're going to tape it tomorrow. And as soon as it's available, like I did a bumper video to help promote it already. And I haven't seen them post that around. So I assume that it's happening. We'll tape it and then they'll put it out within a couple of weeks. I don't know what schedule they're going. We're going to keep listening, brother. Thank you, Brian. I greatly appreciate you, man. And hopefully this is a song that holds up on repeat. You know, I think it's got a good impact right out of the gate. But hopefully it'll definitely hold up on repeat and get you guys hooked. That's a true statement. Who wants to keep? I've had insomnia most of my life. I feel like I miss out on a lot. Stuff mostly because of my job. I used to do a lot of music. I'm a singer. Oh gosh, you were talking about a song. Oh man, now I kind of feel dumb. The song called Learning to Sleep. Oh, no. But I mean, that's the thing. You know, good writers write about what they know. So yes, I'm talking about learning to sleep, but like, I can't think of a better way to jump back on the horse other than like, there's no pretense here. Like, I've been dealing with depression. I've been dealing with anxiety, insomnia. I've like all of these things I've been dealing with. Just real life stuff. So like, it's much more interesting to write about stuff that I'm actually dealing with. So like, yeah, it's funny, the whole song idea, Learning to Sleep, but like, hopefully when you hear the song, it's got that anxiety kind of baked into it. Like it's a fun song in some ways, but like it's still, to me, as what it means to me is like I wrote it, and as I play it, I know the things that I think about when I'm ruminating, when I'm beating myself up mentally, when I'm depressed, when I'm feeling heartbroken about the relationships that I've lost and mistakes that I've made with people that I love very much, people that I've hurt. Like, those are the thoughts that go into, like, learning to sleep. You know, how do you learn to sleep? Like, I did hear one time, I can't remember where I heard this or who said it. It's pretty on point though. Like, how do you sleep? Well, you go to sleep by pretending to sleep. That's how you learn to sleep. Like, you're either tired and you just fall out, and like when you're little you do that, you know. The toddler pass out thing is incredible, you know. It's just like go toddler, just like out. Toddler passing out. Maybe one of my favorite things to think about. One of my very favorite things to think about. But there's that, and then there's the, man, I know I've got to be up in the morning You know, I got to be out the door at 6:30, so that means I need to get up at whatever hour, and it's already, 11:30 or 2:30 in the morning. You just like, I got to go to bed. You go to bed and you're just like, I can't sleep. Well, what do you do? Like, how do you like try to sleep? How do you try to sleep? You pretend. You just pretend to sleep. You close your eyes. You get in the most comfortable position you possibly can. Like, well, when I am aware that I'm waking up from sleeping, I'm usually in this kind of posture. So you just pretend to do that thing. But then the thoughts are like, beyond that, learning to sleep is like, how do you shut your mind down? It's a bit of a meditation, right? And like, you can't think of nothing. That is impossible, and that is not what you do when you meditate. What you do when you meditate is you learn to accept your thoughts. Let the thoughts pass. You try to quiet your mind and just focus on your breathing. And then invariably, like, you're gonna be like, oh God, the phone bill's due. Well, accept that you had the thought and let it pass. Bring your thought back to your breathing. Just trying to like get out of those thoughts and just kind of just get back into your Zen in some kind of way. Just feeling the physicality of your body, focusing on just like that stuff. There's still thoughts, right? Thinking of nothing is it's impossible. You can't do that. So learning to sleep in a lot of ways is very much present tense what I am doing in every facet of my being right now, in my personal life, in my family life, in my musical life, in my career, is doing a fearless inventory of everything I'm ashamed of, everything I'm proud of, everything I'm scared of, everything that I'm passionate about, and acknowledging those thoughts, accepting those thoughts, and making the changes in my life, in my person, and in me that need to be made purposefully. No more passive. Like I've tried to spare myself so much pain by being passive because I've just lived most of my life in some kind of emotional turmoil, but I've been able to function. And I thought I had it together. And then you get older and your body tells you, you don't have it together, man. You didn't have it together. Like, you got through that stuff. You survived that stuff. And now you have to heal from the stuff that you've been surviving from. And like, there was just no getting around it. And I've lost a lot of time. And I'm being accepting of that. I'm trying not to beat myself up about it too much. I struggle with that, but to lean in with intention for what do I want to do with the rest of my life. Google triangle breathing and square breathing. Yes, I am familiar. I need to study them a little bit more intensely. But yeah, that's the thing. Just whatever I'm going through, working through it, actually doing the work, and making the best of life in every facet, way, shape, or form. I want to enjoy the people in my life. I love so many people so dearly. I want to enjoy them. There's children in my life. I want to enjoy them. I want to enjoy watching them grow up and the people that they are and that they're going to become and the things they're going to do. I want to be here for all that stuff. And I also want to leave some hopefully some beautiful things from this life. A little art, a little music, a little philosophy, maybe some teaching, maybe some mentorship, What else are we doing on this planet? We're doing that. So, all right. I'm going to leave it there, y'all. I keep saying I'm going to let it go and I get on another tangent because I'm reading comments and stuff. Thank you guys so very much. I really can't overstate my gratitude. I am blessed. And a lot of it is you guys. Like, just thank you. So glad you guys enjoy the song. And thank you so much just for showing up for me. Y'all could have gone to bed and been like, I'll get it in the morning. Like, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I feel like I need to come to your house and cut your grass or wash your dishes or unload the dishwasher or something. So if there's something that I can do for you with your art that you're promoting, please let me know. And I want to show up for you guys too. I'm going to need everybody to, like, you know, there's going to be a lot of asking. I'm not the favor asking guy, but this is the time. No need to be shy about this stuff now. I need help. I need help professionally, not just psychologically professionally, but in this business, getting back up and doing this stuff. Like, I got to replug into the world in every conceivable possible way. So I need help. I need people going to bat for me and sharing my stuff and helping me get attention. You know, without me starting an OnlyFans page or setting myself on fire or committing a crime or something like that. Like, I'm gonna need to share some links, y'all. I'm gonna need that. And if you know people that want to take some lessons, again, send them my way. Send them to my website. Let them know I'm doing some stuff. I'm here, and I'm here for y'all too. So just let me know. And thank you guys so much. I'll tell you what. John says, thank you, good night. Eden says, thank you, good night. And thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So I'll sign off on YouTube. I'll see you guys very soon. This whole chat will be archived on YouTube if you want to see it later. I don't know that Facebook archives live streams anymore. So thank you, YouTube. I will see you guys very soon as I awkwardly hit the end button.